Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another edition of True Offseason, where we are talking about all of the fun things and breaking everything down from the offseason. We have been moving through our previews of the different regions. We covered the East, we covered the South. We are now taking our talents back north, or going north from the East, from the South, now to the north, and we're going to be covering the AFC and the NFC North. And of course, when I say we, I mean myself, I mean Chase. And Chase, how are you doing this fine Wednesday evening?
I'm tired, guys. I've been doing a lot of heavy lifting at my job, and it's been 4 days straight of 8-hour shifts, heavy lifting, 3 days of different heavy lifting. Sunday where it's like more heavy lifting. I'm beat, guys. I'm beat.
Well, before we get into breaking down the AFC and the NFC North, are you tired from having to lift your wrist up so many times? Because Shador is like the last confirmed real Pro Bowl quarterback.
They had to shut down the Pro Bowl for my God, Shador, man. Like, Shador made it to the Pro Bowl, and they had to change the rules, man. Like, they knew what they did. And so, yeah, man, hey, Shador Sanders, Pro Bowl quarterback, should be QB1, but they want to play it safe, the Browns. But
it is funny because we will be talking about the Browns in a few moments. But we do have two quick comments to talk about. Alan's asking, what do you think about the whole NFL players going back to the NCAA? And then as a follow-up, also, how do you feel about the Big Ten and SEC banning those same NFL players from going to their schools, even though LSU already have two of these guys, and one of them was on the Browns roster? Since this is more of a college ball game,
yeah.
I'll let you handle this one.
Yeah, I did not know this was a thing. So if you guys do not know, the transfer portal has been this new big thing since like 2023, and it's and especially with the addition of NIL, it's kind of made college football like the NFL. But like the difference is college football doesn't have a salary cap, and they can just sign players and stuff. So I guess there's this thing because these players that are choosing to go back to college that were in the NFL are undrafted free agents. So
right,
technically, they didn't get drafted in the NFL. They're just playing preseason football in the NFL. If they don't make a roster, and if they have eligibility left, I guess they qualify to play college football again. Which I'm like, huh?
It's a weird loophole because, like, the thing is, in order to go undrafted, you had to be eligible for the draft.
Yeah.
Like, if the rule, I guess, to their point, and it's the lawyer in me, like, if the loophole is that if you didn't get drafted, just being eligible for it doesn't mean that that it counts against you, then I guess, yeah, they should be able to go back to college. But, I mean.
Yeah, because, and the thing is, I think it's one of the dumbest things that the NCAA allows is because if you're good enough for an NFL team to pay you NFL money, now this is the thing, if there was no such thing as NIL in college football, then it would be all like, oh, okay, no, you can't go back. But since there is a thing called NIL, it's like kind of like, oh, I don't want to get paid this undrafted free agent money, or, oh, I'm not going to make the team anyway, so let me just go back to school to raise my draft stock. And I'm going to get paid. But you literally have just been practicing with the pros. You've been doing stuff with the pros. Like you're not doing the spring ball, the summer ball, and all the other stuff that you do in college football. You've been playing with the pros. So you're pretty much a professional athlete at this point. And so you should not be able to play college football. I'm sorry. I know it's a loophole and it is a rule, and they're technically not breaking any rules. But it should be one of those where it's like, nah, we can't have you on the roster. Like, you decided that you felt you were good enough to make it to the NFL. And then you realize, oh man, this football thing ain't for me. Like people need to understand, like the NFL, it's a hard league to make. It's not like NFL, MLB, NBA. These are hard leagues. It's like the best of the best. Sometimes some people slip through the cracks and you're like, how the fuck did this guy make it? But like for the most part, it's the best of the best. And it takes you to have a certain skill set to make it to that next level and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to get to that certain skill set. And so the thing is, these guys don't have that skill set. So they're going back to college. And the only reason why they're going back to college is not to improve their draft stock. It's to make money. It's because of NIL. And so to me, I think it's completely horrible that they allow this. I don't think it does anything for the college programs whatsoever. What, you're going to add some guy that was undrafted free and he's trained with the pros and stuff? Like, to me, it's
Yeah,
like,
'cause, like, if anything, that just means that you don't have faith in the guys you have, and two, that if this guy's able to beat out those guys for
yeah.
a quote unquote roster spot, or he's higher up on the depth chart, that really means that the guys you've recruited and the guys you were gonna have aren't good enough at all either, and that's hurting their draft stock, because then a team's gonna be like, well, listen, I mean, yeah, he got 700 yards or whatever the case may be, and maybe we would have had him as a third round pick or a fourth round pick, but he got beat out by a guy that nobody drafted in the first place a year prior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
It's a really weird paradigm, but I mean, hey, if they can find a way, they can find a way.
Yeah, I think it's just absolutely ridiculous. And especially like in the NBA, like where we've had players that have gone back to college and they've literally played in NBA games. Like, bro, you play with the pros. Like, what are we talking about? Like, this guy can go back to the NBA because he needs like in the NFL, the minute you put on a preseason and you play on a field of preseason, you played in the pros, in my opinion. Like, I think it's impressive if you make it to a preseason roster, like, or if you make it through like the cuts and stuff. Like, not nowadays they just do that one full cut day, when
Right.
before it used to be like every week there was cuts and stuff like that. Now it's like, okay, you keep your whole 80 whatever rosters, whatever amount of people they allow you on the roster, and then you cut everyone at the very end of preseason. So to me, I just don't like it. I think it's just dumb. It ruins the whole point of college sports. But this is so what happens when we put the NIL into college sports. Like, it's being used for the wrong reasons. This is what happens with it. You know, like a lot of these people, like, yeah, it's just how it is nowadays. Unfortunately, unfortunately, but yeah, it's just such a weird world we're living in.
But let's make this world a little bit weirder, because just as we let off with the question there about the Pro Bowl, let's talk about the AFC North, which has been a division in a lot of change, a lot of change. It's a weird world that we live in, because for so long we had two stalwarts as the head coaches of the team of two of the teams in this division, and there are three teams that changed their head coach coming into this season. So let's start with the team that ended up at the bottom of the barrel last season, and that is the Cleveland Browns. They ended the season 5-2, and coming out of that season, they fired Kevin Stefanski, who took over as the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, and they bring in Todd Monken, who as a former offensive coordinator for the Ravens, former offensive coordinator for the Browns as well. And he spent some time with the Bucs as well as a few different college teams. But this is a guy who he's like, the Todd Monken offense is a thing, and it's a pretty well respected style of offensive play. The question is going to be, can they just figure this out? Because the problem here is you can't cut Deshaun Watson. Well, you could cut Deshaun Watson. It's just going to cause an $84 million dead cap hit. Might have been 89, but either way, it's above 80 to cut this guy. And he's not going to be on the roster the next year anyway, because this is the last year of the contract. So regardless of what you do, 2026 is the last time that we would see Deshaun Watson wearing a Browns jersey. I can't imagine that they would re-sign him. So they're already trying to gear up for the future, and this is a season where it's just like, okay, what do we need to do to try to build towards the future? And one of the big things they did was finally let Myles Garrett find greener pastures in Los Angeles by trading him and getting a lot back for him. And one of the big things they got back for him was Jared Verse. And, you're kind of restarting that clock of getting a younger player who is really, really good and can develop into, you hope, something similar to what Myles Garrett brought to the team. But one of the big things is the draft. They bring in Spencer Fennell. They bring in Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston. They had 2 first-round picks. They really are trying to build up this offense and get this O-line help. You can see a whole bunch of new names here on the O-line. and it's really fascinating to see. I know that you like Shador and all that kind of thing, and it's sort of a gimmick, sort of not, but at the same time, I firmly believe that the 2027 quarterback of the Cleveland Browns is not on this roster yet.
What?
They will be drafted next year.
We have Shador, man. What?
Who are the guys on this roster that you think can really take that step forward and kind of show that, hey, the plan is working, right? Because like last year it was Fannin. Judkins got hurt, but he looked electric when he was playing. Is it going to be Boston, Conception? Who are the players that you're looking to see or you want to pay attention to, not for the Browns of 2026, but for the Browns of 2027 or 2028?
Yeah, the thing with the Browns is this. They've always have had like a team where it's like good offensive line, very scrappy defense. And they have like a bunch of guys on defense I like. Like Schlesinger is a nice player. Denzel Ward's a nice player. They traded for Tyson Campbell, who I liked on the Jaguars. I look at it as more of like, let's just be real. Todd Monken is just a filler coach. Like they just said, let's hire a respected name, a name that no one disrespects Todd Monken. Does his offense like wear thin with a lot of teams? Yeah, like a lot of people will be like, all right, we're tired of this Todd Monken shit. Like, let's move on as a coordinator. Yeah. But they gave a respected coach a chance as the head coach. And is he your head coach of the future? No, I really looked at it as Cleveland had just a horrible situation. Like their only piece to a coach was like, we have Myles Garrett. And they're like, yeah, but you also have Deshaun Watson and I'm handcuffed to this guy and I don't want to coach him. So they couldn't get the sexy offensive coordinator and stuff. So they went with an offensive coordinator, which is the right move for the Cleveland Browns because I always feel like they always find a way to get somewhat of a solid DC in that room. They always rank pretty highly on defense. Like when you watch Browns games, it's not like the Browns are getting killed a lot of the times. It's like the Browns are losing close games, or they're losing these like horrible like 12-9 matchups and stuff like that because they can't score any offense. So yeah, the Bostons and the Concepcions who they drafted, those are the two you want to see hopefully become your wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 tandem for the future. Like Jerry Jeudy has been nice. Cedric Wilson, is it Wilson that they have, or is it Tillman?
Tillman.
Yeah, Tillman has been a nice little revelation for them, but they just need something else. They just need something else. They need younger. They need faster. They need something where if they want that sexy OC, that, oh yeah, he's next up. Like let's just use Sean Mannion, the Philadelphia OC, for example. Sure. Let's say they go one more year with Monken. Mannion, he's found a way. Like the Eagles are like top 10 in offense both years, him at OC. Maybe 1 year they're like in the top 5. You gotta give Sean Mannion something to make him say that, yeah, I'll come to Cleveland. Because like I said, defensively, they've always been a solid unit. They've always been a unit that can compete in games and keep them in games. It's just the offense needs to translate with that. Yeah. And this is why starting Deshaun Watson, like it's just very negligence on the Cleveland Browns, to be honest. Because look, I'm a Shador fan. And I saw Shador take Travis Hunter and made him into a Heisman winning wide receiver, So I'm just saying, guy's a good quarterback. Numbers retired by Colorado. Can't say that about a lot of players. Say that about Shador. And I'm just saying, would have gone with him. What's the worst that can happen? He stinks? Okay, cool. He's young and he stinks. You can move on from that.
Yeah.
With Deshaun Watson, he's a quarterback that used to be close to that elite tier, all of a sudden got to the off-the-field issues, and the off-the-field issues just haven't left him, and he's just playing at this horrible level where he just can't play good.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
Watson's hated more than LeBron.
I was going to say Watson. LeBron at least brought a championship. He left, came back, left again, but in the process, he did bring them a championship. Yeah,
Watson right now is hated because fans don't want to watch this shit. Like if you ask many Browns fans, they're okay with sitting and watching Shador just be an idiot for one season compared to Deshaun Watson. Because Deshaun Watson, it's just almost like it's like hope. Like you're just like, oh yeah, we could be good if Deshaun Watson shows up. He's not. Newsflash, he's not showing up. This guy is not going to show up for you. So you're giving your fans this false hope that you have a quarterback. And then what sucks is that you will see the guy you did draft number 1 overall, and he is a franchise quarterback type of level, and he could potentially make it the playoffs with his team in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So it's like, to me, it's like, yeah, if I'm a Browns fan, why would you like trot out this guy?
Like, well, what I think it is that they are. It's because the thing is, it's easier to go from Watson if he sucks to Shador, than it is to go from Shador if he sucks to Watson. So they're starting with Watson, and they're doing it with away games. Like they have 2 back-to-back away games, and I think by the time that home opener happens in week 3, it's Shador, and it's going to be Shador for the rest of the year. Because like there's really no reason not to kick the tires and the proverbial tires on Shador Sanders and give him the opportunity throughout the course of this year. Because if you think about it, if this is a situation where Shador does enough that you believe you could really build around him, right? Then let's say Tankathon is right and you have the 104. Well, if one of those quarterbacks happens to fall, let's say one of those somebody 1 through 3 likes Jeremiah Smith more, then one of the QB needy teams might be willing to trade with you for 104, and you can really get a lot to build around Shador. On top of that, you really, if those, you don't need to think about trying to move up for the quarterback. You can just take Jeremiah Smith if he falls, and then you've got Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion, Jeremiah Smith, Harold Fannin Jr., and Quinshon Judkins. That's a pretty damn good offense, assuming Concepcion and Denzel Boston work out.
Yeah, pan out. Yeah,
they should.
Yeah, they should, especially Boston. I'm really high on him. But yeah, like the thing is, they got to see what they have in Shador, and they're going to get it. And if it turns out good, good. If it turns out bad, hey, you got to go. The thing with the Browns is they can't win too much. That's the thing.
Right. Yeah, and they do have
the I mean, Colorado retired Shador's number. Jaden Daniels couldn't get that honor. I mean, just saying, dude. People think, why is he bragging about this? It's Colorado. Look at all these other colleges; they don't retire numbers. You know how many idiots I've seen wear number 22 since Derrick Henry? You seen the number of idiots that I've seen wear 21? You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, let's turn to
out of respect, they retired the number for Shador. Last Pro Bowl quarterback. Just keep that in mind.
Let's turn to the Browns' schedule and kind of say, what are the games? Like, okay, so let's put it this way. Let's assume for a moment that after those first 2 openers, especially the Tampa Bay one, right, because it's going to be Baker, let's assume after that, starting in week 3, it's Shador. If you are the Browns and you're thinking, okay, what are the games that I want to try to see? Even if we lose, he does well in, and I know I can build around him for. I think obviously we would trend towards the divisional games, right? Because the Ravens will be a tough game match, even with a new head coach. The Steelers probably will be a tough match again, even with a new head coach. But like, what are the games that you're looking at to go, okay, if he does well and potentially wins, that we could really build around Shador?
I know both these teams are going to stink, and we weren't really high on them when we previewed them. But the Jets and the Titans, like, come on. If you're going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, you got to win. You got to win these games. And especially for the Titans, that's a little bit more because that's Shador versus Cam Ward. That's going to be like, Cam Ward was the number 1 overall pick. Him and Shador, they have like this friendly, kind of rivalry with each other. Like they like to roast each other from time to time and stuff. And like the thing is, before, like, Shador tanked and everything like that, his draft stock, there was a point of time in that college season when it was between Shador and Cam Ward at the start of that college season, who was going to be the number 1 quarterback. Obviously, Cam Ward became that number 1 quarterback. And then, like, other quarterbacks kind of, like, got up there, too. But, like, that's the thing. You have Shador, you have Cam Ward and stuff. If you're Shador, that's the game you want to see, like, all right, how's your competitiveness? Like, are you going to look to go tip for tap with Cam Ward and stuff? And, Cam Ward, he's going to be playing against a really good defense. And if you can't score on that Titans defense, which is kind of suspect right now, it's like one of those things. That's one of the games that I look at. I say, yeah. And then also, too, at home against Houston, that's like a big, like, oh, man, if you can upset the Texans, if you can move the offense against that Texans defense that we assume is going to be good, That's another game where it's just like, oh, okay, we did good and stuff. And then, of course, the Atlanta Falcons, a revenge game. Shador can get revenge on Kevin Stefanski, who was trying to sabotage the young team. That's something to look at too. So those are games that I would look at besides like the usual divisional AFC North games, especially like the Jets and the Titans. If you're going to be a starting quarterback, you have to win these. Gimme, okay, this team is bad. Like, how do you raise your team around you? How do you make it where your teammates say like, yeah, I like we see with a lot of quarterbacks, like players will play up to their ability because they love their quarterback and stuff. And so Shador needs to do that, and especially against Cam Ward, there should be a fire underneath you being like, man, dude, like this guy was taking number over one overall instead of me.
Those pre-draft videos with them were hilarious when they were out in the field together.
Yeah, like Shador's trying to talk to Cam Ward like, I'll just do me, man. I'll just do me.
Alan brings up one of the games I thought was going to be I'm looking forward to would be the Saints game, because that Saints team is similar to Cleveland, a very young, very hungry team. They do have older vets. They do have younger players. And
yeah.
They have, another quarterback, like similar in a sort of similar position as Shador in Tyler Shuck, where it's like, yeah, there's not really anybody behind him that you would want to put forward, but like it's still a little iffy, right? Like, is Tyler Shuck the long-term guy? So like that's another game where it's like if you can win against a Saints team that should on paper be better when it comes to firepower with Olave, with Achane, with Jordan Tyson, assuming his hamstring is fine, then that's going to be another one that you can plant your flag on. So those are some interesting games to look forward to for the Browns. But the Browns were this next team only beat out the Browns by one game. The Cleveland Browns went 5-12, and this next one went 6-11. So let's turn towards the Cincinnati Bengals. Not a team you would expect to go 6-11. Offense, very much the same.
Yep.
Not too much change, turnover. The big turnover is in the defense. This was a team that was ridiculously atrocious last year on defense. And part of it was, the question was whether it was personnel or whether it was defensive coordinator. Well, a lot of changes has happened. And a lot of people also believe that if this defense could simply be middle of the road, instead of in the back half, like say 25 onwards, if they were closer to like maybe 19 or 18, well, then this offense is so damn good that they'll be able to take anybody else out as long as you can keep the score realistic.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're continually asking Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins to try to get 35 plus points every single week, it's going to be a tough sled. So when it comes to, obviously the big name is the Dexter Lawrence trade, but is there anybody else you're looking forward to seeing on defense when it comes to a needle mover for the Bengals who would love to get back into playoff contention?
Yeah, like honestly though, the Bengals, they didn't really move the needle too much on the defensive side of the ball, for me at least, because Boye Mafe, like why are you signing this guy? This guy didn't do that much, honestly, for Seattle. Like I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, really? That was like one of your big signings? Like Boye Mafe, all right. Getting Cassius Howell, who just feels like he's Shamar Stewart, but we got him in the second round. Cool, awesome. Like, I don't know what that does. They do have two really good young cornerbacks that I feel like play well with each other, and DJ Turner and Dax Hill. And if those two guys, because they have everything like most NFL teams want in their cornerbacks, like speed, height. Like I think they're both like 6'1" and stuff. So that's really good. Both physical man-to-man type corners. So it's like you kind of want to see these guys take, like the next leap when it comes to it and stuff. So honestly, the offense, there's nothing really to say about it, because it's like, can the offensive line just keep Burrow healthy in the pocket? Can Burrow stay on the field? Can Chase Brown stay healthy for a consistent amount of games? We know Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, they're fine. Tight end is still kind of like whatever. Like Gesicki's running out there doing his thing. But other than that, it's like, yeah, this offense should be good if healthy. Like, it's like
there's a lot of hope that Eric All Jr. can kind of step up and sort of take that tight end room. They did bring in like seventh rounder, Jack Endries. I'm going to be fascinated to see what happens between Yoshi and Colby Young. That's one of the big wide receiver battles that's happening, because like obviously 1 and 2 is locked up, but the problem is that they need a reliable 3, because both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase have missed time. Like it's been sporadic, but usually one of them is sometimes out. So like that's a situation where you need that third wide receiver, or wide receiver 4 almost, to be able to move in and move up and take that role. So let's look at the Bengals schedule and say, okay, we know what we have on offense. We tried to improve the defense. We said we don't think we're going to get anybody at 10 that is going to be the equivalent of Dexter Lawrence. Let's just give the Giants 10 and get Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah.
So if we are the Bengals front office and we're looking to say, okay, our strategy for the offseason has kind of worked. What are the games, especially like in that middle of the road section, like, because that's where the end of October, beginning of November games, like those are some of the ones that you have to kind of win. The Titans and the Falcons games, like you can stack those wins to try to get into what should still be a very competitive division.
Yeah, I know, because first off, week 6 bye, disgusting, absolutely trash. That is rough for the Bengals. I hate early buys, and a week 6 bye. That is just way too tragic. And not only that, too, away week 6 bye, and you don't even give them like a nice, all right, here's a home game after that. You give them a road game to the Ravens. Now, granted, it's like I don't know the logistics, but I don't think it's that bad of a trip. But still, I'm like, damn, that sucks. Early on in the season, I look at the road game against the Texans, and I say, like, that's a really big game to see how much is this offensive line going to be able to handle what the Texans can do to Joe Burrow. Like, I think that's always like
they were giving up a sacks on Burrow in the preseason.
So that's like a game where, and I get it's week 2, but you circle that game and you say, okay, like how are they going to respond? Like, how is one of the best offenses on paper in the NFL go against one of the best defenses on paper in the NFL? Like, we got to see this kind of battle right here and stuff. Yeah. So, like, that's going to be interesting and stuff. And then when we look at the Jaguars game, I think that's a very interesting game too, to see like, hey, like kind of two similar teams in some respect, and the Bengals and the Jaguars are probably hovering around the same ballpark of where you think they're going to be, either the division winners or they're going to be top wildcard teams. So you got to go beat them. So I think that's a big game. And then, of course, the one claim to fame that the Bengals do have is they're one of the only teams to beat Pat Mahomes in the AFC Championship game. And, like they do seem to have the Chiefs number. It always seems like that's a game and stuff. So who knows how the Chiefs look then and there. But I look at that and I say, man, Chiefs versus Bengals, that's a big game. So
we are getting the rematch of a electric game from 2024 when the Bengals travel to the Commanders on week 11. Because remember that Jaden Daniels Burrow, they got the LSU thing. Even though that's like 2.5 months from now, actually almost 3 months from now, the Commanders game, they're still going to be making the jokes about the 5 at LSU.
Oh yeah. That meme is going to be the meme of the season, like the out of respect for Jaden Daniels meme. But speaking of which, the poor Indianapolis Colts and Bengals, they got the Panthers Steelers treatment. They don't know what day to put this stupid game. 24, 26, 27, 28. Right. I mean, it's better than Panthers Steelers. I don't know how you not have a date for Bengals at Colts. That's actually a good potential matchup too.
If DJ is still upright by then, and the what's it called, the Indianapolis Colts wide receiver room is not destroyed, because Alec Pierce is still not practicing from what last I saw, and then Josh Downs just went down today, and it doesn't seem like Josh Downs' injury doesn't seem to be anything like super crazy, but like, how many targets is Tyler Warren gonna have to get? All of them? I mean, he'll do it, but like, you got. I mean, there's a reason why they signed your boy Keenan Allen. But let's go from one of both of these divisions, the AFC North and the NFC North, are two of the closest divisions where all the teams are just ridiculously close to each other. So we're not going to take too long of a trip over, because we are going from the 6-11 Cincinnati Bengals over to the last year 8-9 Baltimore Ravens. So let's take a look at this Ravens roster. The biggest change is not on the screen. And that change is moving on from John Harbaugh and bringing in former Los Angeles Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter to be the new head coach. And so this is, a first-time head coach. This is going to be really interesting to see. He walks into one of the best roster constructions, one of the best GMs with Ozzie Newsome. They bring in Declan Doyle to be the offensive coordinator, former OC for the Bears last year, former tight ends coach the 2 years prior for the Denver Broncos. So this guy has experience with a passing attack for sure. There's a lot of things to like. The big one is this is a run heavy team, whether it is Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson, and getting Vega Ioane in the first round is really, really big for an offensive line that has needed some help in the past few years. The Ravens were pretty well known for having a pretty stout offensive line, but in the past couple of years, there's been turnover, injuries, just different things have happened. So bringing in a guard like Ioane, I think is really, really good. I am going to be fascinated to see when remember, this is the team that attempted to trade for Max Crosby. What's going to happen with plugging in Trey Hendrickson in on this defense? So who are the players that you're looking at? Because, Alan, I think, is right in saying that for the Ravens, it's sort of a Super Bowl or bust. Not because, and in a weird way, it doesn't make sense because, you would imagine, it's a first-year head coach with Jesse Minter. But at the same time, with this roster, the idea was that John Harbaugh couldn't get you over the hump. So now you're bringing in somebody new who you think will be able to get you over the hump.
Yeah, you're bringing in a guy that has led for the 2 years he was a Charger DC, one of the better defenses in the NFL with less talent. Like, if you look at the Ravens defense and then go to the Chargers defense, you'll be like, how the fuck did Minter really? The Chargers what?
How dare you talk bad about Derwin James?
No, but it's literally like Derwin James, Khalil Mack, Thule was kind of turning it on a little bit, Tierra Tart, but we don't have the linebackers like the Ravens do. The Ravens have a really good linebacking room and stuff. We don't have the corners. That's the only thing where the Ravens, I feel like we beat out on the cornerback position. We have better corners than the Ravens do and stuff. And especially last year with Dante and Tarheeb Still, Cam Hart rotating in and out and stuff and whatnot. The Ravens corners, that's why they went with the Nate Wiggins, because they were like, we need some depth and we need some competition in this cornerback room. And I think with Minter, their idea is, if we can get a coach that understands defense, and we know we have one of the more scary offenses when Lamar's healthy, when Derrick Henry's not fumbling the football, when Zay Flowers wants to know that he's a good player or not, they're a good team. This is a really, really good football team with the Ravens. And like Alan said, Alan read my mind. I was going to say, this is a Super Bowl ready roster, more so than Buffalo. I think if you print out the teams on paper, besides the Denver Broncos, I think the Ravens have the second best roster in the AFC. I really do. I look at it and I'll go, man, yeah, dude, they have probably the second best roster in the AFC. The offensive line, when healthy, Ronnie Stanley is a really good tackle. They have a really good right tackle. I think they lost their center today. That's the only thing. They lost because Linderbaum went to the Raiders and because they were high on the center, and then he got hurt today. So that's a hurt. But when you have a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, who is a much better passer than he gets credit for, and you have a Derrick Henry who can just beat up teams, there should be no excuse why this team is not in the AFC Championship every year. And the thing with John Harbaugh is, it was just the decision making, the way that he was doing stuff, it just wasn't working anymore for it. The owner had one of the best press conferences of all time. Like if you
Oh,
guys,
yeah, that's right.
if you guys have time, go to the press conference where the owner is talking about the team and stuff. Oh my goodness! Like this guy, full on charisma, just doesn't care. And so, and the best question. So, how long would John have been coach if he made it to the playoffs? And he goes, about a week, and stuff like he was just assuming we would be eliminated. And he knows what he wants. He wants his Ravens to hold the Lombardi. And really, to be honest, he's looking at this like this, man. Every decade, we're one of the few lucky teams since the year 2000. Since the 2000s, at least once in the decade, we host the Lombardi. We win a championship. Not a lot of teams can say that. Not a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams who have never won the Lombardi. But the fact that the Ravens can consistently, since like in 2000, 2012, they've won Super Bowls, that's impressive. I don't care what anyone says. Oh, it's been like almost like.
We got to remember, it's not just what makes it so impressive. In addition to the fact that there are teams that just don't have any, is that they were doing it in the era of Brady and Manning in that division. Like it was just Brady, Manning, and Roethlisberger who kept going to the Super Bowl, and then randomly Joe Flacco turned into God, and was able to pull that off. So if you're Bisciotti, you're looking at it going, yeah, I mean, I should like. Lamar Jackson's supposed to Lamar Jackson shouldn't have to be like Flacco, who randomly becomes God in the playoffs one year. He's supposed to be that all the time. Like that's why we got him. So like, yeah, it's supposed to be a lot different than what it is. So now I'm not saying that Jesse Minter would be a one or done. I really don't think that would be the case. But if you are, let's look at their schedule. And Alan, I am going to bring up your question after we get through the Ravens schedule. But when we look at the Ravens schedule, where are the wins in the beginning of the season that you really want to be able to get to know, hey, we're going to be okay when it comes to maybe not being a 1 seed, but like a 2 seed, winning the division at the very least?
I know it's kind of weird to say this, but I feel like the Saints game is one where you have to, like, you're going against Kellen Moore, great offensive mind. Hey, you brought in Jesse Minter because he's this great defensive mind. We saw how Kellen Moore was kind of scheming up stuff, and he is a good offensive coach. You want to see, like, okay, we brought in this hotshot defensive coordinator. Let's see what he does against this hotshot OC and his Saints team. That, yeah, most people don't think it's going to be good, but people have hopes that this Saints team is going to be better, and and they're one of the more scrappier teams in the NFL. And that's one of those games where if the Ravens drop it, and yeah, it's early in the season, but it's kind of like when you look back at the tape, you'll be like, that's one of the games. That's the reason why the Ravens aren't fighting for the Lombardi at the end of this season, is because not because like, oh, they lost to the Saints, their season's over. No, it's because you saw things that Kellen Moore did, and they didn't course correct throughout the season. Because the one thing about Minter is this, I will say this about Jesse Minter. I loved him as a DC. But anytime he played a team with a quarterback that could at least run or had mobility, look at the rushing yards of that quarterback. And you will say, holy shit, why do you give up so many rushing yards to the quarterback? The way he plays defense a lot of the times, or the way he coaches defense and calls the defense, it gives a lot of open lanes. And the one thing about Tyler Shough is this. A lot of people forget this guy can run. Like I know he's not the typical looking scrambling like quarterback, but he's like a Carson Wentz. Like he can take off if he needs to take off. And so that's the thing. When you look at that game, you look at the Tennessee Titan game, you look at games with quarterbacks that can kind of move a little bit. Those are the games you're going to be looking at, and you're going to say to yourself, all right, that's the reason why we're not in the Lombardi, is because we couldn't find a way to contain a quarterback. And it all started with the Saints game. And it all started because, like I said, you're facing an offensive guru, and even their first game against the Colts. That's pretty tough when it comes to scheming up with Steichen. But you're facing against God, why am I driving his back? I literally just said his freaking name.
Tyler Shough.
No. The coach for the Saints. Why am I drawing a blank? I just said his name. Yeah, Kellen Moore. Why was I thinking of Kevin O'Connell? Jesus.
We're getting to the Vikings, don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why he's in my brain always. But yeah, Kellen Moore. He knows how to scheme shit up, man. So that's a game you got to see where your scheme is at, and if your scheme is going to work to lead you to the Lombardi. I do see the Ravens being one of the better teams, though. Like for sure, like definitely. I think they like probably only lose like 5 games this season, in my opinion. But yeah.
If I'm them, granted, week 7 is a divisional matchup, so it is what it is anyway. But like that stretch of Bengals, Bills, Jaguars, Chargers, those 4 games, those are 4 teams that were either in the playoffs last year or are going to be playoff contenders this year. Speaking of the Bengals. So like that's another stretch where you got to really turn it up. And then maybe you're able to take like your foot off the gas a little bit for the Panthers, but then you got to go right back and you're at Texans. And then granted, to be fair, like I kept saying when we did the every time we talk about Texans Ravens and when we did the preview for the AFC South, you embarrassed the Texans on Netflix on Christmas 2 years ago, but like that doesn't mean you're going to do it this time. So like it is still that defense, and then you have a late bye, thank God, but then coming out of that, it's Tampa, and then again all the divisional games, and I think this is another situation where because the AFC North is so hotly contested, the NFL is trying to backload all of their divisional games because just like last year, it's going to be a situation where the last game of the year determines who wins the division and gets that, home field advantage for the playoffs.
Yeah.
But, Alan brings up an interesting question. He's asking, do y'all think Lamar Jackson is still in the Ravens in the next 3 years? And the only information before I want to see your answer is per his contract, after the 2026 season is the potential out. And then after that, he has 1 year left on the contract in 2027. And then the rest of it is void years. They would have to, extend him. They'd have to create a new contract in order for him to be on the in 3 years. However, if they try to just do a simple restructure, this year his cap hit is $34 million. Next year his cap hit is $84 million. So it actually would benefit them to extend him, like to create that, like just to get that temporary relief now and then kick the can down the road of when his cap hit goes up to like $90 million. But to answer this question, I think he probably is still in the Ravens in the next 3 years. I don't see a reason. Like you got to look at like what is replacement value of a quarterback. Like if you're going to lose Lamar Jackson, okay, you have to have somebody who is at least Lamar Jackson coming in to take over, or unless you're saying we are in a rebuild now. But what are your thoughts on Lamar being on the Ravens the next 3 years?
Yeah, the Ravens don't rebuild; they just retool. Like we have never seen the Ravens rebuild. Like John, when's the last time we've seen the Ravens pick like top 5 in the draft and stuff? Like I feel like we have to think about that. They always are picking at least. Like I think the lowest I've ever seen the Ravens pick is like 10.
Yeah, because I think that's when they took Hamilton. Wasn't it Kyle Hamilton? Maybe.
No, Hamilton suffered the safeties can't play in the NFL bump and stuff. So they picked him later.
He was picked 14. You're right.
Yeah.
So the last time they picked in the top 10 was 2016 with the 6th overall pick.
That was Stanley.
Ronnie Stanley. That's the last time. Since then, it's been 16, 25, 32. Well, 32 because they had traded for it. 25, 28. Then in 2021, they had 2 picks, 27 and 31. In 2022, they had 14 and 25. 2023, they had 22, then 30, then 27. And this past draft, again, 14, which is when they take Ioane. So it's like it is a team that very rarely picks in the top 10. Like to go even further back, the last time from 2016 that they picked in the top 10, it was 2003. They picked 10th. They took Terrell Suggs.
Yeah, like this team doesn't pick very low, like often. Like they always retool. So the thing is, with Lamar Jackson, he's going to be staying a Raven. Like it doesn't matter. Like you can do like the hot take, well, or if he wins a Super Bowl, he'll be a Raven. Doesn't matter. They're going to keep him because they look at it. It's like we have a guy who's won the MVP. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and we don't believe in this rebuilding process. Like what's this? Losers do that, not us, not us. And the Ravens have no reason as an organization to believe they should change their methods because their methods work. Like I said, one Super Bowl in this 2000s decade. Every single decade, they won at least one Super Bowl. That is impressive. I don't care what anyone says. That is impressive. They're always a top team in the NFL. John was going through the picks. Literally, their only top 10 pick on the roster is Ronnie fucking Stanley, and he was 6. So, like, that's the thing. Like Lamar Jackson was pick 32 because everyone's like, oh, he can't throw. And the Ravens traded up to get him. It was the first time ever we had a Heisman quarterback taken with the first pick in Baker Mayfield, and then Lamar Jackson was taken with the 32nd pick in that draft. So, like, that's the thing people need to understand. The Ravens will do the same thing they did with Joe Flacco. They'll say, your quarterback worth a damn? All right, we'll grab him. We'll get him. Like, that's what they're going to do. If Lamar Jackson, like John broke down with the numbers and stuff, it just makes sense to extend him. It just makes sense instead of like having to deal with the void years. And then also, too, when you're trading for a Lamar Jackson, here's the thing. A lot of people don't understand. Everyone's like, well, won't they get like a bunch of first-round picks back? No, because he's going to be on an expiring contract. And the team that has to take him has to be a team Lamar Jackson, like, yeah, I can see myself playing there. I'll sign the extension. Like, that's the thing. Like, a team is not going to give up their future capital to be like, all right, here's 4 first-round picks for Lamar Jackson. Lamar, you're happier? Nah, I'm leaving. What? You know what I'm saying? Like a team has to like the only team that I feel like it was like, okay, yes, you do this, and I feel Lamar would resign there is Atlanta. Because you look at Atlanta, they already have like an infrastructure in place. They have Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan. It's a young team. Lamar's going to be a little bit older, but he fits with what Atlanta needs. And if you're Atlanta, it's like, okay, how many blue chip prospects can we keep fucking drafting? Like, it's not working. Like, let's just get ourselves a quarterback. Let's give the Ravens 4 first-round picks. We don't care. We'll throw in like 2 seconds in there too. Are you guys happy? Give us Lamar. And Lamar will be like, yeah, I'll sign there. But that's the thing. Lamar right now would have all control, and teams trading for Lamar would have control because they would say like, hey, because there's going to be a team. They're going to be like, yo, look, we're not going to want to re-sign Lamar, but we do see our roster, and we think he has the potential to win us a Super Bowl, and we're cool with running him for a year. So 1 first-round pick, is that good? And then the Ravens are going to be like, nah, he's worth more. But yeah, we're not going to re-sign him. We just told you this. Oh, okay. Yeah, so 1 first-round pick. So the Ravens trade bargaining is not going to be that high for Lamar. Like people need to understand that when he's going to be on this weird contract, it's going to be tough. So that's why they should just extend him and figure out from there on else. So yeah,
because the thing is, if you're trying to trade him after this season, that cap hit, a team's got to take on the $84 million and then try to renegotiate with him.
Yeah,
he could in his mind he could go, I just play out this year, make my $84 million, or make the cap hit of $84 million. He would get as a from a cash perspective, he's going to get 10, 24, 32. 30. He's going to make about $35 million. So the cap hit would be that high, and then he just goes, oh yeah, oh wait, no. That is actually because his base salary is going to be 51. So he's going to be never mind. He's going to be making like 70 million from not just the 70 million towards the cap hit of 84. But then he just goes, yeah, I play out this year, and then there's going to be a team that wants to sign me, and they're going to sign me to a 4-year deal in the 2027 offseason or the 2028 offseason. So like, why wouldn't I just do that? So yeah, it is a tricky situation. And it is one of the issues when you do have a guy that arguably is a franchise quarterback. And when I say arguably is, I mean a guy that you know is going to keep you in the mix, but there may be something about his game that you are like, okay, can I live with this or not? And that's what the hallmark of being like, in essence, a franchise quarterback is that you are so good in some respects that we are willing to overlook issues elsewhere. And like, I think the problem for Lamar is not from an on the field perspective, from an athletic standpoint. Obviously, he can run. and he's becoming a better passer. The question is the decision making. That I think is what's interesting, because like it seems as though he still is geared a little bit too much towards, okay, let's just run, let's just take off, versus trying to get the ball downfield. And it's like, yeah, you can pick up a 20-yard gain with your legs, but like it's a lot better for the team if you score by throwing the ball to Zay Flowers. And that's what, or to who was it before? Well, it was Isaiah Likely, but Mark Andrews, or trying to get the ball in space to one of these other wide receivers. So let's see like how that works out for them. Alan's saying if Dak sucks, my Cowboys, maybe if Jerry wants to pay for more.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it is something, but that's the thing. There's going to be teams that will use this against the Ravens and say, yeah, we will just want him for this because we have the leverage. Like, you guys don't have the leverage in this situation. So that's the thing. It's not like that. That's like what some people just don't understand. Like, people think like, oh no, you would get this much. Like, yeah, but Lamar doesn't want to sign there. Like, he doesn't want to sign there. So
yeah. So let's turn from the 8-9 Baltimore Ravens to the 10-7 Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mike Tomlin did it before he left, man.
They win the division. They make it to the playoffs, and they lose as usual. And finally, what seemed like it would never happen, Mike Tomlin is let go from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they bring in none other than former Green Bay Packers head coach and Dallas Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy, kind of confirming that it's very much possible that Aaron Rodgers will return to this team, and lo and behold, he does. Now, Tomlin famously was a defensive head coach. So who do they get to be the new defensive coordinator is Patrick Graham, who previously was for 3 years. 22, 23, 24, 25. For 4 years, the defensive coordinator of the Las Vegas Raiders. It's not instilling that much confidence in me. Before that, for 2 years, he was a defensive coordinator for the Giants. So like he has like a bit of a pedigree when it comes to being a coach. He was from 2009 to 2015 at various positions with the New England Patriots. So he has that experience. That's probably what helped him progress further. But this was a roster that, similar to the Ravens, the problem was you're not getting rid of Harbaugh because he sucks. It's because he just can't get you over the hump. And so you're bringing in a guy like Mike McCarthy because you think that's what's going to happen. And so they're trying to just retool little bits of this offense, add things, change things a little bit. They signed Rico Dowdle, who was with McCarthy in Dallas, to be RB2, arguably RB1 if anything happens, if he's able to push Jaylen Warren out of the job. They trade the Colts to get Michael Pittman. They also add a couple guys here on win the wide receiver through the draft, especially Jeremy Bernard. That's one that's interesting to me, just because I think he provides something that they don't kind of have 100%. They don't have exactly what he's able to bring, but they have these two really good down the field guys with DK Metcalf and Michael Jr. If Jeremy Bernard can be like a little bit more of a slant guy, or just like that, a little bit short of the sticks and then gets the first yard, a little bit of a yak guy, I think that is really, really good for this offense. And of course, you have like the Pat Freiermuths of the world. Like it's the Steelers as we know it, just trying to be slightly different. So, is there a player or players on this team that you look at this roster and you go, yeah, this is the reason why the Steelers are going to be slightly different? And by different, we hopefully for the Steelers mean better.
It's not really a player; it's the coach. It's Mike McCarthy, because I don't think McCarthy's a bad head coach. Like he's shown what he can do with certain teams. It's so weird. Like Aaron Rodgers is just like, it's my last season. I'm going to forgive everyone that I've hated and stuff. And it's like Mike McCarthy's now the head coach, and we're back to Rodgers and McCarthy and everything like that. It's so odd. It's just like a weird dynamic and stuff. But I think McCarthy can get something out of them. Jeremy Bernard, he was like so fun to watch at Bama. Like he was so good yards after the catch. Like he's just electric. Once you get the ball in his hand, he just finds ways to get positive yards. So I think that's something good for the Steelers, because DK Metcalf, who knows, maybe a blue-haired fan pisses him off again or something like that. Michael Pittman, he's been kind of laboring the last few years, like certain injuries. He just hasn't like either fully recovered or something. So maybe the water's different out there in Pittsburgh, and he can recover and be a really good player for them. Defensively, you got Highsmith, you got Watt, you have a good edge rush duo, you have solid linebackers. We don't know anything about this Joey Porter situation yet. That's the one thing. Joey Porter Jr., one of the bright young corners in the NFL, is now demanding, I got to be the highest paid corner. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I just haven't watched a lot of Joey Porter tape. Let me turn this on. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, yeah, he's good. The highest paid, like, oh my God, is cornerback the new like quarterback, where it's just like, yeah, as long as you're kind of above average in your position, we got to pay you type of thing. And, Steelers have a reason to be driving up the price because Porter Jr. is young. He has NFL pedigree. Obviously, his dad played and stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see that. But I think the Steelers, they are what they are. And we'll see if Mike McCarthy can coach them up and they can continue the tradition. 10-7. Let's go. Let's do it.
Because if you think about it, 10-7 is or should be the benchmark. Like that should be the baseline for what this team should accomplish.
That's what they're going to become. 10-7.
Because think about it. If they don't get 10-7, like let's say they go like I don't know, just for argument's sake, like 6-11. Well, then why did you fire Mike Tomlin?
Yeah, exactly. Like
he was going to get you 10-7.
Yeah, like I think it's just more of like the Steelers. They really want to see. Like I think with the Steelers, it was just more of like they knew the fan base was over. Like we talked about this how many times we talk about the Steelers. Like they've had the same, like they've only had like what 3 head coaches in our lifetime. Like in our lifetime, it's literally been Tomlin, Coach Coward, and then I don't even know the other one. So it's like literally like we've seen the same 3 people. Like, bro, I was in freshman year in high school when Tomlin was the head coach of the Steelers, was announced. Like I was ending my freshman year. I'm 33 now. That's how long Mike Tomlin was the head coach of the fucking Steelers. Like the Mike McCarthy move. It's like, is he going to be the new Tomlin where he just stays here for way too long or something? Like, I don't know. Like,
imagine if he did. Oh man.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. Like, and the Steelers, like, let's just be real. It's not like they're like the Ravens in the sense, like where we talked about the Ravens. There's been times where the Steelers have been bad and they got lucky and they were able to pick a little bit higher. Steelers always draft very well too, so they find these hidden gems in the 2nd, 3rd round type of thing. So they tend to do well finding the players. They do win Super Bowls, which is impressive. I mean, they haven't won one in the last few years, last 20 years, I guess you could say. So it's been a while since the Pittsburgh Steelers. 2009 was the last one, so almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's the thing. We're so used to the Steelers being this team that wins football games, and they haven't won in quite some time. So,
Alan is making the joke that I made to you a week or so ago, whatever it was, about the fact that it's McCarthy and Rodgers who beat the Steelers in that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just weird. It's just like, oh, the enemy of my enemy is now my friend.
Right,
like,
right.
Let's just hope this works out. This is like if like the Avengers were like, all right, we can't beat Doctor Doom. Let's get Thanos and Ultron up in here.
But let's take a look and see if their schedule is going to be good for them, if it's going to be something that pulls them away from a potential at least 10-7. But this is it's a number 1 schedule. Like you won the division, so you got to face these people. You got to go at New England week 2. You got to go. You get to host Denver right after Thanksgiving. You also then have to take on the Texans. Then it's at Jags. Then it's the Ravens. Luckily, we talked about it when we did the South. They don't know when you're going to be playing the Panthers, but you're going to be playing the Panthers.
Yeah.
At least you get like a little bit of a breather there. But like basically from out of the bye week on, you got to be on it.
Mm-hmm.
Bengals, Eagles, Broncos, Texans, Jags, Ravens. You got to that is what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You got to come out of that at least 3-3. Those are the games that you got to, because if you lose to these teams because of how many AFC teams there are, even if you do get to the playoffs, you don't want to be one and done. And then, because then it's like, okay, we did exactly what we did with Tomlin every damn time. What was the point of getting rid of him? And that's something that you and I talk about a lot, is the idea of replacement value. If you're going to fire a head coach, the guy you bring in has to be damn near as good as that guy. Otherwise, what's the point of losing that experience in the building? So what are the games you're looking forward to seeing this sort of, I don't even want to say revamped Steelers, but this like new look Steelers for them to have?
Honestly, the Colts game is pretty interesting. A home game. Let's just see how this team does against maybe one of the better teams in the AFC South. Broncos would be definitely interesting, especially if the Steelers are good, to see if like how can Rodgers is Rodgers back and stuff. So to me, it's just like those are the games that kind of stand out where I'm like, I kind of want to see how they do out of the division against these tough teams and see if they can like stack up and if McCarthy has something cooking, like. But yeah, 10-7. Like this is the most 10-7. Like maybe 11-6. Maybe they pull out one extra win and stuff. Like maybe they upset one of the better teams. But yeah, it's like we'll see. Like it's just more of like what are we going to get out of Aaron Rodgers? Right? Like we know Aaron Rodgers can still go, but not like on a consistent basis. Like it's not like consistent. Yeah. You're not seeing Rodgers like gunsling for 350 plus 3 touchdowns every single. And then also too like that was another thing. Like, and I think this is why they brought in McCarthy. The red zone was so predictable. Once they got to the red zone, it felt like every Steelers game I watched, it was like goal line fade to DK Metcalf. Goal line fade to DK Metcalf. Oh, we're gonna trick them. Play action. Goal line fade to DK Metcalf. Or it'd be like, all right, hand the ball off to Jalen Warren. All right, hand the ball to Jalen Warren. Goal line fade to DK Metcalf. It was like, oh my god, like you have other things, and that's the thing with McCarthy with the tight ends they have with like Freiermuth and Rico Dowdle and stuff. He's gonna find ways to at least get them involved in the red zone. He's good offensively when it comes to the red zone. Like McCarthy's very good in that red zone area. So like it's just one of those things that I think is very important for the Steelers. It's just like how can we maximize old man Rodgers to his full potential and have it where Rodgers can be an MVP type of candidate this year. Like because if Rodgers has somewhat of a decent season, even if his numbers don't show it, he's getting like MVP votes. They're going to give him sympathy MVP votes, no matter if the media hates him or stuff. They're like McAfee will do a good job on his show, hyping him up, and then the McAfee bros will be like, "Yeah, Rodgers, man, Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays. I listen to it every single day. Hear Rodgers talk about how that you actually shouldn't be eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because the peanut butter can grow inside your belly and take over."
Rodgers at this point, he's not the guy who's winning you the games, but he's not going to be the reason you lose the game. And that I think is the important thing. Like he's not going to throw those game-breaking picks at the end of the game that's going to completely derail what's happening.
Yeah, we're not going to hear the Steelers announcer. It'll be like the Minnesota announcer. He's like, "Why are you throwing that pass? Send it to the Super Bowl."
So
not the week break. One of the best. You've heard that radio call, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the Brett Favre throwing the interception to the Saints. You don't throw it with the trip of the Super Bowl on the line.
So as we finish a division, we then take a look over at Tankathon just to really quickly see where Tankathon thinks they're going to end the season, as well as who they would pick if that is where they end it. So the Browns, with their own pick, because they do have two, Tankathon is having them pick 4th overall, where they would take Jeremiah Smith. Then we have the Steelers picking 9th, where they're saying that they're going to take CJ Carr, quarterback, Notre Dame, which Drew Aller is doing a pretty damn good job of trying to say that he is going to be the next quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But we'll see what happens. Like if one of those guys does drop and they're like, okay, let's get a first round guy or a guy who we grade out as a first rounder. We'll see. Then we have where are the Bengals? The Bengals at 17, they're taking Jamari Johnson, tight end, Oregon. The Ravens at pick 30 are taking Ahmad Moten Sr., defensive lineman, Miami. And then finally, with that second pick, the Browns, who they're saying because they have the Rams pick, they're saying that the Rams are winning the Super Bowl, that they're picking number 32, take Drew Mestemaker, quarterback, Oklahoma State. How do you feel about those picks?
Yeah, I don't think Carr or Drew Messmaker coming out this year. I'd be surprised if they did, to be honest. Messmaker has a chance because, like, this is, and also, too, he has, like, high value because he transferred to Oklahoma State. His old coach is over there, too. He has the same wide receiver, same running back type of situation. So, like, with Messmaker, it could be like, hey, if he balls out of Oklahoma State has a good season, his stats look good, just go to the pros. Like, there's no reason for you to stay at Okie State. You could be because he could sneak up and be one of the top 5 quarterbacks at the end of this draft cycle, maybe a top 5 pick. But yeah, no, I think they're all very AFC North coded picks. Like, I could the tight end from Oregon. I'm like, oh yeah, like that's what we need for Joe Burrow, not a tackle or guard. Just get a goopy tight end that can't run block. That's awesome. Like, how many catches is he going to get? How many touchdowns is he going to get? Yeah, I mean, because that's the problem when you have guys like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. You need like a low maintenance, like tight end that's like, yeah, I'll run block. Yeah, I'll catch my 50 passes a year and get my 3 touchdowns and only get 600 yards. I'm cool with that.
Well,
you need someone like that.
They've got the Giants at 11 taking Trevor Gooseby, tackle from Texas. They've got the Jets with the Colts pick at 13 taking Jordan Seaton, tackle LSU. And then the next offensive lineman taken would be 29, Eagles, Caden Green, offensive tackle, interior offensive line, Missouri. So I guess maybe they could take that guy if they want, Caden Green, if he's falling. But let's pivot. Let's pivot. We finished the AFC North. Let's turn to the other division in football that is ridiculously close to each other proximity-wise. I think they are the closest, and that is the NFC North. And we start with a team that I don't think anybody predicted would be the last team in the division, and that is the Detroit Lions. And Alan, the teams currently projected to pick 1 through 3 are the Cardinals, Dolphins, and then the Jets. And it's supposed to be Arch, Dante Moore, Julian Sayin, which, some order of that. But let's talk about the Detroit Lions, a team that really nobody expected to be this low. Like, my goodness. To go 9-8 and lose out in the division, just in the rankings, to a Minnesota Vikings team that was led by a combination of J.J. McCarthy, Carson Wentz, Max Brosmer, is really upsetting if you're the Detroit Lions. But one of the good things about being the Detroit Lions is that when you are down, you come up biting kneecaps. At least that's what I heard. So let's look at this roster. Let's see the turnover and see the changes and see if there are things happening that we think will allow them to bite at the proverbial kneecaps, because they wouldn't do that literally. That would be assault. But they have added a few different pieces scattered throughout this team. One of the big issues for them last year was the defense, specifically their secondary. And so they bring in a couple guys here and there to try to help out. One of their ultimate real problems was losing Terrion Arnold, which was their own choice, but like they cut him because of his legal issues and all that kind of fun stuff. But Terrion Arnold, I don't think anybody would say that he was lighting the world on fire as a cornerback last year. Like, he was good, but he wasn't like, this world beater kind of guy. Like, you're not like the replacement value of Terrion Arnold. I don't know if it's going to be that hard to be able to get a guy like that. Are they going to be able to pull that off? That's something to remains to be seen. You bring in a guy like Roger McCreary. I like that signing just to get that depth piece in there for that cornerback room. One of the big issues also for the Lions has been the offensive line. Like, they have a relatively strong offensive line, but it is one of those things where it's like you need to be continually kind of creating that turnover. And they get Juice Struggs through the trade that sent Monty to Houston. They also draft Blake Miller in the first round of the 26th draft. A lot of this offense really does look the same. A lot of those pieces are in that second column of the second string guy. It's not really, this isn't an offense that needs like that much help. Earlier today, I sent Chase a infographic about the top 10 receivers in the 2024 and 2025 seasons on third and fourth down. And there were 2 Lions in that list of Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams, which really goes to show the volume of the passing attack and how willing they are to throw on third and whatever, or even fourth and whatever. So realistically, we got to look at this defense. And so I want to know, who are you looking at on this defense that you think is going to be able to really, really help them out? And is it Devin White?
I don't think it's Devin White. But hey, shout out to Devin White. Was out of the league, had like a great like comeback season, and has now been a good linebacker. He started off weird career. Started off looking like, oh yeah, this guy's gonna be great for years to come. Then fallen off randomly and just couldn't find like a roster spot, or couldn't find like a legit home for a little bit. And then like he just has this really good year with the Raiders, and so like all of a sudden changes it. And yeah, the thing is with the defense, I do like how they added depth to the cornerback position, because their cornerbacks just got beat up and they just didn't have anyone. So getting guys like, even if they're past their prime or they're not like the same players like they used to, like Roger McCreary, Chuck Clark, I think those are good signings, just for depth reasons, especially when your team just loses out on the corner position and stuff. So I think that's good. They do have 2 of the best safety tandem, and Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph, when both are healthy and playing. Kirby Joseph is one of the, I know there's some people that don't like him because they say, oh, he's a dirty player and all this other stuff, but he is a really, really good football player at the end of the day, especially in coverage at that safety position. And Brian Branch, not really like outstanding in coverage, but he is like the green dot, the emotional leader to the team, and he's someone that, rallies the team when they need it and stuff. Have a really good defensive line. Defensively, they should be better. Offensively, very interesting. Panay Sewell, who has been mostly the right tackle for most of his career, now moving out to the left tackle, which he played in college football. That was like his main position, and it was because the Lions had a really good left tackle and Decker for so many years. So there's no reason for them to like move Decker away from the left tackle spot. But it's going to be interesting to see the impact that oh God, why am I trying to click on his name? My contacts are going in and out, so I can't really see the names and stuff. But it'll be very interesting to see the impact that, who was I talking about? The left tackle. Why am I drawing a blank on his name, dude? This is how tired I am. I'm losing track of names.
Blake Miller. Blake Miller is who they brought in to be the right tackle.
Yeah, I know. It's just interesting seeing Panay Sewell move from right to left now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see the impact that has to the overall offensive line chemistry and stuff. So very interested to see with what they do there with Panay Sewell and stuff. But yeah, I think overall Lions should have a bounce back season. There was a lot of turmoil too with the offense. Like first Dan Campbell, it was like, okay, we're going to bring in a OC that doesn't really inspire anyone. Then Dan Campbell's like, I'm calling the plays, and then they fired OC. So it's like, really, to be honest, know your personnel, and I think Dan Campbell knows what his personnel is going to be. We're going to see if this is going to be the time for Jahmyr Gibbs to break out. Will Jahmyr Gibbs finally be the true running back one, or will Pacheco and potentially Kareem Hunt might be coming to the team? So
that's one of the things that's going to be fascinating to me is, for so long, the question was how good of a duo Jahmyr Gibbs and Monty were together. But the question was, is Monty holding Gibbs back? And that was one of the things you and I talked about, where I had the argument of, well, are we not also willing to say that the counter is Monty also not keeping Gibbs fresh? So going from a guy like Monty to Pacheco, I think is a drop-off. And I don't know if Pacheco is going to be able to, in those moments when Gibbs needs that spell, if he's going to be able to do the same things that Monty was able to do. Monty could just run between the numbers and get you, okay, it's a 3-yard run, then it's a 4-yard run, and then all of a sudden it's a first down. Like those kind of things, and those ways of just, hey, we're going to let the play clock bleed down a little bit. It's letting Gibbs rest on the side, and then he's able to just come back into the game and break off for a 20-yard run or a 30-yard touchdown, whatever the case may be. Those kind of things, can Pacheco do that? That's going to be one of the things that is going to be fascinating to see. And so that's why we are going to turn to the Lions' schedule to see whether or not we think that they really are going to be able to bounce back, or if, and when we say bounce back, I think you and I both mean win the division versus just, being a wild card team. So let's look at this Lions schedule. And you do have some easier teams to beat. The value of being fourth in the division, you get to play the Panthers, you get to play the Cardinals, you get to play the Dolphins. You're going to have those tough divisional matchups, but you also get to play the Falcons and the Titans and the Giants. Like this is not that bad of a schedule if you have retooled properly to be able to not just get back to the playoffs, but do very well. How are you feeling about the Lions schedule?
Yeah, man, I feel like the Detroit Lions, they have like a very, getting a 4th-place schedule and being a very good team, they have a really nice schedule. When it comes to it, I just look at the stretch and I'm like, yeah, man, the Lions could get to that nice little, like, maybe. The problem is with the NFC North, all these teams could be very good, and they could have that same situation like 2 years ago where it was like the Vikings were 14-3 too. So it was just like, great. We got to face off another good team. What the hell is going on here and stuff? So to me, early on, I think it's a little rough with Buffalo, and then you get into your division matchups. But hey, both of them you're kicking off at home, so not too bad, to be honest. So I look at the Lions schedule and I say to myself, like, hey, there's a lot of good games to watch, and it's a schedule where I wouldn't be surprised if they do have one of the best records in the NFL. Probably not the best roster on paper, but when I look at from like an overall, like, oh yeah, I can see it, like saying a team has the best record in the NFL doesn't mean they're the best team in the NFL. It's just like, hey, like they got the schedule, and they took advantage and they won the games and they got the positioning. And for Detroit, that's what you want to kind of do, is you want to position yourself to be in that first seed. And with the roster you have a chance to make some noise, especially if you get that first seed. It runs through Detroit. Gibbs is having a really good season. You kept healthy, maybe only one major injury and stuff, and you're able to kind of like hold on. I think that'll be good for the Lions, and I do think that this schedule that they have, I'm like, like minus going to Germany to face the Patriots, pretty not a lot of travel for them. Like, so I don't even know like what the farthest they have to go is Buffalo or Arizona. That's it. No, Arizona's their farthest game.
Yeah, outside of that Germany game.
Yeah. It's like Arizona's like the game where it's like, great, this can be a long flight.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Let me take a look at this, because this is interesting to me about their schedule. I wanted to see what is their over under on wins for this season. And let's see. So right now, to win the division, they are the favorite, plus 155.
Yeah, because people saw the schedule and they're like, how did not win the division with this schedule?
And the
it's not crazy to say, like, I'm being dead honest, they could lose like 5 division games, but they will still. But if they have a better overall record, than the division teams, they would still make it to be the first seed and win the division.
So they are negative 125 to have 10.5 wins.
Yeah,
plus 140 to have 11.5 wins.
That's I was gonna say their over under should be 10.5. Like, looking at the schedule, because like Saints, they should win that. Bills, tough. Jets should win. Panthers should win. Cardinals should win. Packers maybe should win that game. Vikings probably should win that game. Dolphins win. Patriots, Germany, Amon-Ra St. Brown's coming home. Who knows? Tampa Bay Buccaneers, most likely a win. I can see them beating the Bucs. They lose, that's fine. Bears, 15. Falcons, most likely a win. Titans, win. Vikings, probably a win. They sweep the Vikings. Giants, win. Bears, Packers. At that point, you might be so far ahead in the division, you're not even playing the starters. So it's like,
yeah, It could very well be. And Alan, I
Yeah,
think
it's just more of like if the Lions want to be dicks and be like, yeah, we don't want the Packers in the playoffs.
I think we did get a lot of good games for the international series this year. Like,
That Falcons Colts game was fun as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, they're kicking off with what was it, Rams and Seattle, right? Or Rams
in Australia.
Yeah, like that's week 1. So like we're gonna
how messed up that is. They're gonna be playing at like 7 a.m. in Australia football because we have to air it here in America at normal time. It's like I'm like, damn, dude, that sucks, man. Can you just imagine like you're in Australia and you're so excited, you're like, oh yeah, football, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, sorry, buddy, you gotta wake up at 7 a.m. to watch football.
I don't think the Australians are gonna be that mad when it comes to a free opportunity to drink. But
no, they love the like.
Oh yeah,
I'm surprised they didn't attack the Australian market like sooner with games. Maybe it's because of the logistics and times, and I guess too, like Australia taxes a lot of money. Like UFC fighters hate fighting out Australia. They're like, if you're not an Australian that lives there, you're like, yeah, I'm not fighting on the Australian card. Like it's like one of the biggest jokes in the UFC. It's like always like they have to make sure like a New Zealand or an Australian can main event that Australian card because like the non-Aussie fighters get pissed about like their pay. Like they'll be like, yeah, like I was supposed to get paid this, and then like all of a sudden like it's like very expensive too and stuff like to travel. So probably that's the reason why it's just like a really expensive like type of place.
But let's turn to
and also Australia's a weird market too. It's like one of those markets. It's kind of hard to gauge what they like and don't like. Like, did you hear about the story about Coca-Cola in Australia?
No.
So Coca-Cola, you know Coca-Cola, the probably one of the top tier sodas of all time, like well known face and brand.
Yeah.
They didn't drink Coca-Cola. They didn't like Coca-Cola and stuff. So that Share a Coke campaign when they were putting names on the thing.
Yeah.
That started in Australia. And because it worked in Australia, because they finally got Aussies to drink Coca-Cola, they brought it worldwide.
Yeah, they're like, hey, if it works there, it'll work anyway.
Yeah, they're like, so I'm telling anyone that's running a business and operating a business, if you want to know if your business will work or not, see if it works in Australia first. Because if it works there in Australia, it might work around the world.
Well, let's turn to a team that, oh my God. How do we even talk about what happened with Minnesota's 2025? You let
you would think they're the 4th place team.
Right. You let Sam Darnold go, which was the right decision money-wise. Like I will say
money-wise.
It was the right decision money-wise. I was banging the table for the fact that I was like, they're going to let Sam Darnold go. They're not going to re-sign him because you have J.J. McCarthy on this rookie contract. You have to see what he can do. Now, J.J. McCarthy stinks. So they have to try to find a way to dig themselves out of this hole. They do it with like the weirdest platoon of backup quarterbacks because also J.J. McCarthy has this weird thing where he'll play a game and then he gets hurt. And then he misses like 2 games. And then he'll play a game.
Yeah, remember like he had that weird. Remember, like he missed the game because of pregnancy leave or something, and then he was ready to go, and then they were just like, and this was early in the season. They're like, nah, he's hurt. With what? I thought he was just busy talking. No, something wrong with his ankle. Like, huh? Like, what do you mean something? He literally just let a comeback drive for you guys against the Bears.
If you were Justin,
like, what are you talking about?
If you were Justin Jefferson, you got to be so annoyed. Like, you got like what is happening in Minnesota the past like 2 years is why somebody like Devontae Adams got pissed and wanted to leave Vegas. Like that's like it's just even when we win, it's like we're not winning. Like we're not doing what we need to do. And so it's like let's look at this roster and be like, all right, cool. Let's look at what Minnesota has done or can do and all that kind of fun stuff. Now, this was a really, like we said, up and down season for them. They bring back a good number of their players. They lose some people. Probably one of the big ones that they lost is Jalen Naylor, which sounds weird, but like Jefferson's been a little banged up over the years. Addison either has been banged up or were suspended for a little bit of time. So like losing somebody like Jalen Naylor, like you believe that Ty Felton can be the guy. They also then decide to bring in Juwan Jennings to try to fulfill that wide receiver 3 role. They have different just changes that are happening, but ultimately the real question is, can Kyler Murray get the job done? Because they brought in Kyler Murray on ultimately a vet minimum deal, and they are trying to see whether or not he can be the guy. There was a bit of a quarterback controversy, a quarterback competition, and Kyler Murray like basically won that without really doing anything. Like he just was in there in training camp, and I think Kevin O'Connell was like, "Oh shit, yeah, no, he is better. Let's make him the starter." And it's just this weird situation because you do draft in the late teens Caleb Banks, defensive lineman from Florida, and there was a lot of hype for him coming into the draft season, coming into that whole prospect evaluation process. He was expected to go pretty highly, and can really help this defense remove some of that pressure from the Minnesota offense. And Jake Golday is another one. That was one of those linebackers that I was hoping would fall to Denver. This is a defense that if Brian Flores can keep them, with the ears pinned back, they can go toe to toe with a lot of these defenses in the NFC. The question is going to be the offense, and it's all going to come down to whether Kyler Murray can figure this out. Do you believe in Kyler Murray? And more importantly, are you going to switch back from you were Sean McVay, then you were KOC. You went back to Sean McVay. Are you going to go back to KOC?
Oh, dude, KOC can bring back the Kyler magic. I'm so back in on the KOC. You know that. Kyler was one of the most fun quarterbacks to watch under Kingsbury. It was just like, oh man, look at this little guy run, throw the ball with the rocket arm and stuff. And all of a sudden, like he just stopped caring about football, and then it just like something happened. Like I don't know what happened, but something happened where Kyler Murray just like regressed super duper fast. And I can't explain it because he looked like he was on a trajectory up. Like, I'm not saying being like an elite quarterback, but top 10, like consistently, like you would have Arizona fans, like because you're on Reddit more than I am. They would be like, I think Kyler gets disrespected. He should be in the top 5. Like, like they would be saying that about him, but he's not. He's like, fine. And the thing with Kyler is, despite being a short player, very, very strong arm. Like that's one of the strongest arms I've seen from a little short guy. Like he just rips it. And so I think Justin Jefferson got what he wanted. He said, I want this guy. And they said, okay, we'll bring Kyler Murray in. And, Juwan Jennings is a very good, nice slot receiver. I'd be interesting to see how he performs because we've seen this before. The Shanahan wide receivers, they look good in the Shanahan offense. And yes, even though KOC and Shanahan run kind of similar kind of stuff, then they go to somewhere else, and it's like, oh man, it's just Shanahan. Like, look at Kendrick Bourne. They didn't do shit. Comes back to the Niners, looks great. Looks like, oh, it's the Kendrick Bourne of old. And I also do like Juwan Jennings from an aspect of like he's like because KOC loves his little trick plays, and the fact that he's a former quarterback and he can actually throw the football pretty well, he's gonna have some nice little trick plays with Juwan Jennings and stuff. But it's that running back room where I'm just like, ugh. Another year of Aaron Jones just running for 2 yards and falling down. Ugh. It's like, I don't know what they're fixing.
Honestly, and we're going to pull up the schedule in a little bit, but I think by like week 4, week 5, I think Jordan Mason is RB1.
He should be RB1 already. I'm so tired of watching.
But like, it's
going to take how much, John, you know how much money I lost on Aaron Jones because this guy couldn't run for 34 stinking yards. I'm not asking much, Aaron Jones. I'm just saying, hey, you can run for 34 yards, right? On the little price picks, like John, I literally have green. And I'm just looking at Aaron Jones in the third quarter only having 12 rushing yards. And I check like the little updates. And it's Aaron Jones, 2-yard carry. Aaron Jones, 3-yard carry. Aaron Jones, 1-yard carry, touchdown.
Somehow they had the same record as the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, no, it's like it's truly remarkable. Like this is what good coaches can do. Dan Campbell and Kevin O'Connell, even though the teams aren't that good, they still finished 9-7. It's not like this team or 9 whatever their record was, 9-8. They still finished good. Like they still finished like as a team that can compete. 9-8 That wins you the NFC South. 9-8. That's good. But it's like not in the NFC North. You got to be on your P's and Q's, and especially after you saw what the Lions schedule looked like, it's like, oh man, this is going to be kind of tough for you. You got to make sure you are hot every time when you go against certain teams on the schedule. And we'll see. Like defensively, I'm not really concerned with the roster because I just feel Brian Flores is one of those guys where it's just like, give me anyone, I'll find a way. And it's like, are you sure? Yeah, give me anyone. I feel like he can make a guy in a wheelchair an all-pro linebacker. Like that's how good of a defensive coach he is. Like somehow, some way, like Timmy in the wheelchair will be picking off people and stuff. But yeah, they have similar guys on defense. And isn't Caleb Banks kind of banged up right now or something? Like he's not like healthy. Like
I don't know 100%. He might be.
Like they're two defensive draft picks, Orange and Caleb. It's like mammoths. Oh my god, they just got mammoths out there. Like the only person you really want to see out of is Dallas Turner. Been very disappointed since coming out of Alabama. Like posted one of the better 40 times for an edge rusher. You were thinking, all right, we're going to get this speed demon off the edge. I forgot who their other, Daniil Hunter. It was Daniil Hunter at the time. And you were thinking, okay, him and Daniil, they're going to just kill it. And then Dallas Turner just never progressed. Like Van Ginkel will sometimes be on the edge for them and stuff. And you're like, what's going on here? I thought Dallas Turner. And so you kind of want to see Dallas Turner kind of turn it up. Like he's kind of like their Chop Robinson. Like, all right, when are you going to like do good at? Because Dallas Turner was a problem in Alabama. It just felt like this guy would just blow past offensive line. So
this is interesting because I was searching to see like how, because I know he did come into training camp banged up and he did play in the 2 preseason games.
Okay.
But, I mean, I don't know how accurate this report is, but Tony Pauline from Essentially Sports is saying that is NFL Insider. Let me just, before I want to see how many followers you have on Twitter and whatnot. Okay, all right, cool. He's followed by actual NFL and former NFL writers. All right, so I believe that he has insiders. Apparently, the Vikings are questioning the decision to draft Caleb Banks because they didn't have a general manager at the time. Remember?
Yeah.
So, like they fired
the general manager because he wants to spend time with his kids.
Right.
They're like, you can't do that.
So they're like, the people making the decision now are like, who is like Nolan Teasley, the general manager now for the Vikings, who was assistant general manager for the Seahawks in 23, 24, 25. That guy is like, well, I didn't make this pick. Why am I beholden to having Caleb Banks on the roster? It's like, all right, well, okay, well, hey, if he's good, he's good. If he's not, he's not. Alan, I will say this. I don't know if J.J. McCarthy is going to be gone by the trade deadline simply because I don't know what team would be trading for him.
Yeah, no, like if anything, because
that's
like
the problem. It's not, if they want to get rid of him, that's cool. But who's going to take that? Who's going to trade for him?
Yeah, no, if anything, because he's on that rookie contract, and like most rookie contracts is only really like 2 years you have to pay them. He's cut. Like they're just going to cut him. Like they're just going to cut him, and then some other team will grab him. Like most likely my Chargers. Jim Harbaugh was like, Justin, I got your new QB2. I got your new QB2. His name is JJ. Like it's so funny when I read JJ McCarthy wants a fresh start. These are the teams he's interested in, and it's like all these teams have starting quarterbacks. What is this fresh start this guy wants? Like, oh yeah, I just want to go to a place where the playbook is not hard for me to understand or something. Like,
yeah.
Well, to all the places he named, I'm like, these playbooks are just as. I think with JJ McCarthy, it's just like really, to be honest, he's like the perfect example of like when people talk about college quarterbacks have a developmental issue and stuff. JJ McCarthy is the perfect example where he has all the tools. System, like, how do I say this? Like Drake May, for example, if you watch like Drake May tape, you could see where he was able to learn at North Carolina his mistakes and be able to like to fail. Yeah. While JJ McCarthy was designed in a system where he couldn't fail and he shouldn't fail because it was a system to make sure he looked good. It wasn't a system to make him better. It was a system where he looked good. Like Cam Ward, Drake May, they went through systems where it was like they had to learn to fail. While with JJ McCarthy, it was like, all right, just hand the ball off to all your good running backs, throw it to your good tight ends.
Yeah.
Make sure you're reading 1 and 2. You're not going to 3, JJ. Just do the things that we need you to do. Like it was literally just like, here's the play, like throw to the red route in Madden. Just throw to the red
Oh
route at
yeah.
all time. Don't
I see what
don't
you
don't 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 look for the other routes. Don't look for the soft spots in the zones, or because go back and watch them because I know there's the memes of like JJ McCarthy Michigan highlights, and it's just him handing off the ball half the time. But go back and like watch some plays, and you're just like, huh, he didn't see the backside dig. That's interesting. And then go back and watch like Drake May, and you will see it's like, oh, okay. He saw the backside dig. He just sailed it. And then it got to an interception. But that's more impressive that he noticed that there was the backside dig over there. Or look at Cam Ward during his time at both Washington State and Miami, especially Washington State, where he didn't have the best talent, but he goes, I trust my damn receiver. I'm throwing him the damn ball even though he covered. And it's like, not the best throw, but he's at least showing he trusts his receiver. And
right.
that's not what JJ McCarthy would do. JJ McCarthy, if oh no, the red route's covered, what do I do? I'm just gonna scramble and stuff. And that's the thing with Kevin O'Connell, he wants it where it's like, hey, this, that, or the other. And it's like with JJ McCarthy, his confidence got crushed because he thought he was going to go to an offense where it was like, okay, I'm not going to fail in this offense. And
See
that's
that.
not the type of coach that Kevin O'Connell is. Kevin O'Connell wants a quarterback that will be willing to take risks and actually, read the field.
Yeah. So like obviously, I like my guy, but I'm looking at it and I'm going, what was so off about the scouting process that you guys, I mean, whether it was Quafi or KOC or some combination of the two, really were like, if JJ McCarthy falls to us, we're comfortable taking him. Like,
You know what? You know what it was. You know what it was. It's just with JJ. It's because of the tools. Because JJ does have really good tools that you want out of a quarterback. Or he has good speed. He has a really good arm. Ball placement is hit or miss, but like that's the thing with JJ McCarthy. He's like the idea of like if we can just mold and build it. Well, with Bo Nix, it's more with Bo Nix is like you know what you're getting with Bo Nix. Like not to say Bo Nix can't improve, but in terms of mechanics, that's his mechanics. Like his mechanics aren't going to get any better. Like you can make him a better processor of the field. You can make him better in those terms and those aspects, but you can't make him better mechanically. Like with JJ, plus he's like I believe he's like a natural. Like Bo Nix was like a little bit older too and stuff. But yeah, no, like I felt Nix was a better quarterback than JJ McCarthy. Like
yeah,
coming
like,
out of the draft, like
obviously we're going to be talking about the AFC West down the road, but there are people who are talking about the addition of Jalen Waddle is going to bring the year 3 Josh Allen, and I'm like, okay, guys, we got to remember part of what made year 3 Josh Allen a thing was that he took a look at his mechanics and changed everything. That's what he did. And now, granted, yes, Stephon Diggs coming in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, but like that was a big deal of what happened with his mechanics. But
yeah.
Let's turn to the Vikings schedule and see if we can get them on track with Kyler Murray, potentially better than 9-8, to hopefully win the division. Like they have the team to win the division. The question is Kyler Murray and the running back room. But let's take a look and see. You are playing a third place schedule. So you do get the benefit of that. Like you get to play against teams like the Dolphins and you do get like the Commanders and whatnot and the Falcons. But there are teams in there that were third place teams that maybe should not have been third place teams. Granted, it's quote neutral field, but like you do get to have to play the Niners, and maybe the Niners are banged up again by week 11. But like if they're not, that's going to be tough. You got to face the Colts week 7. There's some tough games on this slate. That New England game, that I think is probably going to be one for me that I'm really looking at when it comes to not the Vikings for 2026, but the idea of, are you inking Kyler Murray to a long-term contract, another like 3 years, say, or are you looking for one of these quarterbacks in the draft and maybe saying we'll just try to maybe 2028 is the year where we look for the quarterback. Let's just, see what we can get with Kyler, or just run back with JJ one more year and hope that we have a high enough draft pick for a 2028 quarterback. I think that New England game is one of the ones I'm going to be looking forward to seeing, because obviously we know the division games are the division games, but that is a big one outside of the division. How about you? What do you think?
Yeah, that New England game, I feel bad for Al Michaels. Has to go there in the cold in December. That sucks for Al. Kirk Herbstreit's going to have to wake him up like 5 times during the game and stuff. But yeah, no, I look at it where it's like, I look at the Colts game coming off a bye at home. I think that's a big game for them. Buffalo at home too. That's going to be a big game for them. Like, there's a lot of games where it's just like out of conference. Like, honestly, I think this is one of the tougher schedules for a better team that I've seen. Like, we've seen like the Dolphins and schedule, and we're like, oh my God, how did they get a win? I'm kind of almost the same way with the Vikings, and I don't even feel like they're a bad team. I'm just like, damn, they're facing a lot of good teams, and then it's like, yeah, you get a break with the Dolphins, but I'm not sitting here pounding my chest thinking they're going to kill the Saints and stuff. Right. And then you go Indy, Lions, Bills, Green Bay, San Francisco, and Mexico. The altitude, that sucks. Like, you have to play in that altitude. That's going to be a hard thing to adjust to. And then afterwards, yeah, you get Falcons and Panthers. But then you go Patriots and then Lions and then Commanders. Maybe they're good, even though we've heard reports their offense isn't that good or something. So this schedule is just yucky. I could see it. We're in the same record, 9-8. It's a 9-8, and it's like, I mean, I don't think it's going to be because they're a bad team, but it's more of the sense that, hey, you facing a schedule that's pretty damn tough, and as well, it's like, who knows with your quarterback situation.
Yeah,
what was Alan's comment? I didn't see all of it. I just saw JJ.
Oh, he was saying JJ had a lot of problems at Michigan with that whole coaching staff that is now coming out. Look at Bryce Underwood came out and said that Michigan doesn't have anyone to coach quarterbacks since JJ. And then he also adds JJ just needs someone to help him with reading the playbook and help with his passing.
Yeah, no, he just wants it where it's like, give me the offense that I want. I want the offense to keep me safe. I don't want to go about, like, because that's the one thing, like, I always tell people, like, with Bo Nix, what I always liked about when I watched this tape, he went for it on certain balls. Like, he's like Ben Roethlisberger, Phil Rivers type of quarterback where it's like, fuck it. Could get intercepted. Also could be a touchdown. And you would just,
I mean, a lot of people one of the big knocks about him is not just from the draft community, but like from in the internet, was in Oregon, like, he wasn't asked to do a lot of things. And it's like, yeah, he wasn't, but that's forgetting what he did at Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he chucked that shit in Auburn, and you never saw that from JJ McCarthy.
Yeah, because in Oregon, it was like,
be surgical.
Dan Lannon, be surgical. We have guys. Yeah, we're gonna build yak yards. Like, it was like, it's a yak machine at Oregon. Like that's how at the time that Oregon team was built, around get the playmakers in the balls hands, and whether it's handing off to the running back or short dump off routes, it is what it is. But in Auburn, he had to like make some risky throws to win some big football games and stuff. One against Oregon itself, against Justin Herbert at the time. So it's like that's the thing where it's like, with Bo Nix, you've seen this. While with JJ McCarthy, it was kind of like, all right, JJ, this offense is designed around you. You have the keys and you know what to do. All right, but champ, you got this. And it's like, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, they never asked him to like take a risk. Like, they never asked him to make it good. And yeah, Bryce Underwood has a point where it's like, look, this is the issue too with NIL. Sometimes players are going just for the money, but they're not really going for the right fit for them as a player, for them to grow and develop to that next level. Because sure, it's nice that you're getting paid for these 3, 4, maybe 5, 6 years that you're in college because of the new extensions and shit. But like, ultimately, don't you want to play football for the rest of your life? Don't you want to make generational wealth instead of quick fix wealth? And that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of these college quarterbacks, they're getting paid like a lot of money just to be like somewhat, okay, like Dante Moore. That's why it's like with Dante Moore, it showed like, okay, like he realized like, yeah, I went chasing the money and it didn't work out. Let me go to Oregon. And Oregon was like, yeah, you're not going to be a starter. You're going to have to learn and stuff. And you go, okay. And now he's going to be a quarterback, hopefully, at the end of this, at the start of next year, next April, he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks. So that's what I say, hopefully, because you never know. Sometimes some guys regress, and it's like, oh, why'd you go back to college and stuff? Like you sometimes can make that mistake when it's like you're out the doors and you're like going to be the number 2 overall pick, and you're like, you know what? I feel like I could be number 1 next year and stuff. And like Oregon's already paying me as much money to stay as if I was the number 2 pick. So fuck it, going back.
I mean, like last year's a great example. Almost a lot of people thought that Arch was going to come out after 1 year at Texas, and nobody, like, if you had told somebody at this point in time a year ago that Fernando Mendoza was going to be the first overall pick in the 2026 draft, I don't think anybody would have believed you, because they would have assumed it's just going to be Arch Manning after 1 year at Texas. So, like, yeah, there are plenty of things that can change. Quarterbacks move up and down draft boards all the time, and so, like, it is a question of, for the Vikings, like, where are we going from here? Like, is Kyler going to be the guy, and then we're going to have to pay him a lot of money? You're running into sort of the similar situation of paying Kirk Cousins, where it's like, you know what the ceiling is, but are you going to be able to take that ceiling and with everything else lift it up versus that guy being able to lift it up? We'll see. But there's a team that for the past like 40 years has had stability at the quarterback position. And it is the team that was the runner-up in this division last year. It was the Green Bay Packers, because they've gone from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers and now to Jordan Love. And Love seems to be doing all right. Like, he seems to be, like, he is statistically good. It's weird. A lot of people don't really realize it, but, like, statistically on, like, third downs, he's really good. Against pressure, he's really, really good. Like, he just doesn't throw, like, flashy passes that, you know, light up highlight reels or things like that. And so, like, he kind of goes under the radar a bit. But this was a team that has a lot of turnover on their coaching staff, like a lot. They lose their quarterbacks coach, Sean Mannion, hired by Philly to be the offensive coordinator. So they bring in Luke Getsy, who was the OC of the Raiders in 2024. And he gets promoted from being an offensive assistant to being the quarterback's coach. But on top of that, they lose Jeff Hafley, defensive coordinator. He gets hired by Miami to be the head coach there. And they replace him with Jonathan Gannon, the former head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. They lose a bunch of people to Jeff Hafley's new team down in Miami. He gets the linebackers coach, the DB coach. And so now they've got to bring in new people or promote people. And on top of that, a problem is paying wide receivers, particularly because they Romeo Doubs, Dontavian Wicks, they lose them, but they decide to pay Jaden Reed and pay why am I forgetting his name? Christian Watson. And so they're like, we're going to try to cement money on the guys that we really believe in, we really trust in. I don't know if they should have paid Watson the amount of money that they did or the duration, because he always seems to be hurt. Like, it always seems to be a hamstring issue. But on the flip side, if your first round pick from last year, Matthew Golden, takes that step forward, then, you know, you don't have to rely on Christian Watson. And more importantly, this is an offense that moves through Tucker Kraft. Yep. If Tucker Kraft is on and not dealing with a freaking torn ACL like he was last year, this offense hums. It's uncanny how much this offense moves through Tucker Kraft. A lot of people think it's through Josh Jacobs. Some people think or thought until last year with his Liz Frank injury that it was Jaden Reed, but it really was Tucker Kraft the whole damn time. I don't think there's really a problem outside of the Watson issue, the injury issue, and knowing whether or not Tucker Kraft is back. And granted, Josh Jacobs has that potential suspension, whatever. But, like, the offense isn't really the issue for Green Bay. It's the defense. And a lot of that had to do with bringing in Micah Parsons, but then you lose him to the ACL. If he's back, and back, then this is a defense that can take another step forward. They lost part of the trades that they made was sending Rashawn Gary to the Cowboys for a 4th-round pick. They, go to the Colts and get Zaire Franklin as a linebacker. They trade Dontavian Wicks to get some more draft capital. Like, they moved pieces around to try to reconfigure this defense. And one of the questions was going to be, like, what are you doing with your first round? Like, they traded away that 1st-round pick. So what are you doing with the rest of the guys that you are going to be able to get? And they really, really go defense. Like, this proves what I'm talking about. Like, the 2nd-round pick is Brandon Cease, cornerback from South Carolina. Then a defensive tackle in the 3rd round from Missouri, Chris McClellan. Danny Dennis-Sutton, defensive end in the 4th round, Penn State. They don't take an offensive person at all until the 5th round when they take a center. Then it's back to cornerback and then a kicker in Trey Smack. Like, no wide receivers, no tight ends, one offensive lineman. They are telling us what they think they need to improve on for this team. How do you feel about the roster construction of the Green Bay Packers for 2026?
Yeah, I actually think Green Bay's roster is kind of a little bit underrated. It's just a wide receiving room. You just want to see something like the extension to Watson. It reminded me of when the Chiefs extended Dwayne Bowe, and it was like, why? And it was like, well, because Dwayne Bowe's our only good receiver. And it's like, okay. And yeah, when Watson plays, like, he will have those games. When you talk about Jordan Love doesn't have those flashy passes, all those come to Christian Watson when he is healthy and stuff. So I think, like, roster-wise, I think it's a pretty darn good roster. They have good offensive line. The running back room is kind of still also a question mark, too. Like Josh Jacobs, is he going to be back into form as he was? He kind of got a little bit hurt and wasn't playing that well and stuff. Chris Brooks and Marshawn Lloyd, especially Brooks, he stepped up well for them and stuff. So for me, I just look at this team and I'm like, all right, can you guys win the division and can you make it to the NFC Championship? And I think they do have the roster for it, especially when you have a guy like Micah Parsons, who is, one of the best football players in the NFL. So it's like, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, adding like Zaire Franklin, who I was shocked the Colts let go. I was just like,
Yeah.
Isn't he one of your main rotational guys or main guys and stuff? And, like I remember Chris Collinsworth, he was like, it's like that triangle, Mike, him, Buckner, and one other guy. He was like talking about them and stuff and whatnot. Getting Javon Hargrave, that's fine. Like good replaces, the Rashawn Gary of the world. So yeah, I look at them and I say to myself, I'm like, they have a good secondary. They have solid linebackers. One of the best edge rushes when Micah Parsons is healthy because he just makes everyone better. And offensively, Jordan Love, he does his thing. Like you said, not the flashiest, but he's a good quarterback. He's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He provides value. Like if he's hurt, I don't think there's another. I know like Malik Willis had fun and he was doing his thing and stuff, and he looked good. So it kind of hurt Jordan Love a little bit. I think that's what hurt the Jordan Love stock a little bit, was Malik Willis being an animal on the ground and being a fun quarterback and stuff.
Yeah, it's the Packers are such a weird team because it's like they're normally historically good, right? But on top of that, like recently, they've just seemed to keep running into a wall. Whether that wall has been the Rams, whether that wall has been the Eagles, whatever the case may be, like they keep running into some kind of a wall in the playoffs that they just cannot get past.
Yeah, it's like even in the prime Rodgers years, it was just like they would look like, oh yeah, this team's going to the Super Bowl and stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like they have the first seed, and then Eli Manning stumbles in and then destroys them, and it's like, wait, what? The Packers, like, I always remember the one year when the Cardinals went freaking Carson Palmer went ballistic and they had that epic game, and then Larry Fitzgerald turned back the clock for one last badass game, and he gets that overtime one, and it was just like, oh my god, like this is just like what happened here? Like why did it go like this and stuff, And so yeah, it is what it is and stuff. Like I feel the Packers, they do have one of the better, like, more sleeperish rosters in the NFL. LaFleur, I think it's just also too, LaFleur sometimes, like, he pulled a Sirianni, where Sirianni will just be like, we can take the gas off the pedal a little bit. and that's where I feel like sometimes they lose games because like LaFleur will just not be like innovative with his play calling. Like he just kind of like plays it a little safe. So I'm always curious. I'm like, when is it when the Packers just go, yeah, man, like we like LaFleur, and I think LaFleur is a good coach. I just think it's like sometimes he just has these weird like
what he'll do is like he'll get up by like a score or 10 points. And instead of trying to just like keep the chains moving through Tucker Kraft, he then tries to run the ball a lot through Josh Jacobs. And it's like there's nothing wrong with running the ball through Josh Jacobs, but it's like if you don't get success with that, you need to then be able to go back to throwing to Tucker Kraft or
he does the reverse Kyle. He does like the reverse Kyle Shanahan, where he's like like where Kyle Shanahan has like the first 20 plays scripted, and he's like, we're gonna run these plays whether they work or not, and stuff. Like LaFleur is like, all right, I'm just gonna be innovative. And then he has the last 20 plays scripted, and he's like, all right, hand off to Josh Jacobs. Are you sure, coach? Like, yes, they won't see it coming. Like, he does like the reverse where he calls like all his safe plays at the end when it's like, because that's what lost him the Chicago game. Like, it was like literally in the playoffs, it was like if you rewatch, still one of the greatest comebacks and a fun freaking game. It was one of the best things that we all watched together live and stuff. But I was like, man, dude, LaFleur really like hunted this game, like thinking he was going to win. And then you notice when it was like LaFleur let it loose and the Packers were able to move the ball pretty easily, it was like, okay, yeah, this is what the Packers can do. So they have the quarterback, they have the chance, they have the opportunity. They do have a chance to be. I think the Packers are one of the sleeper teams. Like, I know it's kind of weird saying they're a sleeper team. Like, I don't really think they are a sleeper team. But I think, like, when people say NFC representatives in the Super Bowl, like, it's like the typical Eagles, the reigning champ Seahawks, so on and so forth. I do think, like, the Packers are one of those teams where I wouldn't be surprised if they're playing on Valentine's Day. Like, if I saw the Packers and it's like, Jordan Love, it's their first Super Bowl.
I think one of the ways that they can pull that off is being able to host the home game. And to do that, you have to win the division. They haven't won the division since 2021. And that is crazy. A lot of their woes really started was not winning the division, like letting Minnesota, letting Detroit, now letting Chicago win the division. Like in 22, they were third. They were 8-9. Detroit was 9-8. In 23, they were the runner-up and they made the playoffs. In 2024, they were 11-6. They still made the playoffs, even though Minnesota was 14-3. And last year, 9-7-1, they're in the playoffs, but they need to win the division. So let us look over at their schedule and see, do we see a way for the Packers to win the division? This could be doable, but it's also going to be tough because you got to deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're going to have to play the Cowboys. You're going to have to go to New England, to Los Angeles, the Bills, and the Texans. Now, we haven't talked about the Bears yet because we're going to be talking about them. But like, while Detroit is the odds-on favorite, Chicago should be definitely in the mix. How do you feel about looking at this schedule, how do you feel about Green Bay's chances to win the division back?
I don't think they can win the division with this schedule. Like, being in competition for the wild card, absolutely. But after you see Detroit's schedule, it's like, oh, they should walk away with the division based on paper. This schedule, there's a lot of tough games in between. There's a lot of games where it's like, oh, I don't like to travel for them. Like getting Buffalo and Lambeau, that could be a big game where you can win that, and that can help you guys out a little bit. Facing the Texans and Lambeau is also nice. Like they got a lot of like favorable home games against some tougher teams and stuff, so that's always good. But yeah, man, like this is a very, very tough schedule overall, in my opinion. Like in terms of just like consistency, like where's like the streak going to come from? Where's your 4-game win streak coming from in this schedule? Like I can't find like a stretch where I'm like, oh yeah, that's where the four game home streak starts and stuff. So yeah, it's like I wouldn't say 11-6 or 12-5, Alan. This schedule screams like
it screams like 9-7-1 again. I mean, obviously 9, but like it screams like potentially single digit win.
Yeah, like they might go 9-8. They could go 10-7. Like
Right.
11. I like honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the odds makers give them 9.5 as their over to win for the wins in the season. Like,
Let me pull it up. Let me
because like
see.
I said, that they're like the only stretch I see where it's like, okay, they can get the 4 wins is their first 4 games, but then afterwards, that's when it like, yeah, you start off 4-0, but we've seen many teams that start off 4-0, and you're like, oh man, they look good, and then they fall off. Look at the Buffalo Bills led by Fitzpatrick that one year when they started 4-0, and everyone Bills fans thought, yeah, we got Fitz magic and everything, and then boom, they just fell off.
While I'm doing that, let me pull up this from Alan saying, do y'all think if Parsons is healthy, does he get 15 to 20 sacks a season? No, because even when he played a full 17-game season, the highest he's ever gotten is 14. I mean, I could see him getting 15. I don't know if he's going to get damn near 20 coming off of an ACL tear.
Yeah, it's Parsons also too. They like to use him in pass coverage and like to do a bunch of different things with him. Like he's a great football player for a reason, but it's like he's not like a necessarily like super duper sack getter. Like like he can get them, but he's not like oh my god, like terrorizing the quarterbacks like that.
Yeah, the over-under for the Packers, 9.5 wins is negative 115, and then 10.5 wins is plus 155. So the over-under is 9.5.
Yeah, no, like I said, like that's how I look at this schedule. I'm like, yeah, man, like 10 wins. Like, yeah, Vegas is just like, yeah, you're not taking money from us. You're not hitting the under or the over. Pick your poison.
But if you want to be the king in the North, heavy is the head that wears the crown. And that, for the first time in a long time, was the Chicago Bears. And the Bears, went through some changes. They lose Jaquan Brisker to a 1-year deal to the Steelers. They lose Kevin Byard, 1-year deal to the Patriots. They lose C.J. Gardner-Johnson, 1-year deal to the Buffalo Bills. They do re-sign some players, but really it's who they brought in. And they bring in safety Kobe Bryant from the Seattle Seahawks, linebacker Devin Bush from the Cleveland Browns, 3 years, $30 million. A defensive tackle from the Colts. But the two big ones really is Kobe Bryant and Devin Bush. However, that's not the only thing they did. It was not, I won't call it a blockbuster trade, but it was absolutely newsworthy that they traded DJ Moore to the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo gets their potential superstar receiver, and the Bears, in response, get a second-round pick. They also trade for a center for Garrett Bradbury after signing Drew Dahlman, but then Drew Dahlman retires after last year. And the question is, this secondary has needed some help in the safety position. And so Chicago, Ryan Poles has gotten a lot of flack for some of his draft picks over the years. But most people seem to be very pleased with the first-round pick of Dylan Thieneman. They then get Logan Jones in the second round to kind of help reshore that offensive line at the center position. Like we said, Drew Dahlman did retire. So this is an offense that, there's going to be a lot of open targets because you're losing a guy who used to get a reliably like around 100 targets a year. Can Rome Odunze and Luther Burden absorb a lot of those targets? Yes, they can. But who's going to be absorbing a lot of them? Colston Loveland. Loveland's going to be getting a lot of those targets. I think that from an offensive standpoint, the questions that I have about the Chicago Bears is Rome Odunze versus Luther Burden. Who's really going to separate themselves as the wide receiver one? And then my second question about their offense is, can they recreate what they did last year with the run game with Swift and Monangai? Because there were some games where the two of them combined for like a poor man's Gibbs and Monty, and they looked absolutely electric. But there were also games that they had some difficulty running the ball. Can they pull that off? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. The other thing, as it pertains to the Bears as a whole, is last year I think they led the league in turnovers that they took the takeaways from offenses. Are we going to see regression to the mean? And if so, will additions like Kobe Bryant, will additions like Dylan Thieneman in the draft and Devin Bush as their new Mike linebacker, will that be enough to overcome any issue if they do regress to the mean when it comes to the turnovers. What are your thoughts on the Bears roster construction as this is your second team, your NFC team?
So weird seeing the Bears have a better offense than defense. I'm so used to just seeing a really good defense, and the offense, you're kind of like, oh, hopefully Nazir Muhammad remembers he's a Carolina Panther and does good for us. Like, like you're just hoping for the best and stuff. And so it's so weird seeing like, oh man, this offense, especially if Caleb Williams takes that leap, the year three leap, and we see Caleb, hopefully become a 4,000-yard passing quarterback. Would be great to see that for once in your life as a Bears fan. 4,000 yards passing, like, would be amazing to see. But yeah, he has a bunch of targets, and I think Ben Johnson is doing the right things. They have like a great offense. Defensively, that's where I'm just kind of like, I don't know about this team. Like, this defensive line has been kind of okay, just okay at best. Montez Sweat is like, he's like a nice player, but it's like, when am I going to see the sacks from you, buddy? Like, I need you to be like at least one game, show me something. Like, what happened here? Like, Bears traded a good amount to get him. Well, not a good amount, but like, decent draft capital to get him. Devin Bush, has been up and down his career. Just like Devin White, as we talked about earlier, he finally found his footing. And so it's like the traditional Bears just find like a linebacker where it's like, oh, they're undervalued, but we valued him. Like TJ Edwards is one of these guys. Like that's what the Bears have done throughout their whole career. They go, they don't value you, but we value you, and then they take them and stuff. Like, go look at the linebacker signing throughout the years and stuff. Like Edmonds was like that before.
Bro, they've been chasing a way to replace Roquan Smith from the day they let him go.
Yeah, well, they because the Bears are like, yeah, Urlacher and Briggs, that was one of our best eras in the modern day, so we got to have that. It's like, you're not getting that. Like, I'm sorry, Lance Briggs and Brian Urlacher don't grow on trees and stuff. Yeah, but the Enderman should be exciting. Didn't Kobe Bryant get banged up, or am I thinking of someone else?
I think you are right that Kobe Bryant. I don't know if he's done for the season though, but I may be wrong there. Oh, shit. Okay. So it said on August 7th, he had knee surgery, sidelining him for 4 to 6 months. So I think I don't know if his season's necessarily done, but I think it's more of a question like, if they are in the playoffs, he has the potential to return.
Yeah.
To the playoffs. But like, there's still going to be a ramp up process. So we'll see. But like, that's more, not more pressure, but that's more responsibility on that first round pick. And like, he's supposed to be good.
Where did Brisker go to?
Steelers.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Brisker went to the Steelers. Yeah, because like that was the thing. I was just like, man, yeah, Jaquan Brisker. Like, I liked him. I liked him a lot, and I was like hoping they would keep him and stuff. They let go of some nice little players that I liked on the Bears and stuff. The Krenzel era in Chicago was breathtaking.
And Alan's asking, will Caleb Williams go down as the greatest quarterback the Bears have ever had? Even better than Rex Grossman. Listen, first off, I would say that the bar is Jay Cutler, not Rex Grossman. But yeah, listen, if he can get 4,000 yards, if he can do something nobody's
they'll have a parade in Gary, Indiana.
That's it's the stadium issues, because I live here in Chicago, has just been really fun to watch. To the point that I know people who think that the governor is going to lose the election if the Bears leave. Like, there's people I know who believe that.
Well, the thing is, the Bears unfortunately are leaving. Like, this is
they are. But like, it's just it's really funny to see the gamut, like the reactions have run the gamut of, fuck those guys. They want taxpayer money. We're not going to give it to them. Vert to, if the Bears leave, like, it's the institution of Chicago is getting damaged.
Yeah, like, I know, like, because you showed me the line and stuff, and it's like super duper close, but I'm still man, it's kind of weird. Like, the Indiana Bears, like, like,
that was the other thing. Like, the Indiana saying, like, like, just to try to rub salt in the wound. They're saying, like, if they come over, we want them to change the name.
It's like when the Chiefs become the Kansas Chiefs, or the Missouri, like, aren't they becoming the Kansas Chiefs or something like that? Like, or
I don't know if they're going to change the name, but yeah, it'd be Be kind of weird.
But they're in Missouri, so I'm like, why?
That's what I'm saying. It'd be kind of weird if they didn't. But the Kansas Chiefs doesn't have the same ring to it, you know?
Yeah, like it's a Kansas City.
Yeah. Don't disrespect Super Bowl runner-up quarterback Rex.
Yeah. If only it wasn't raining that day, maybe they would have done something.
No.
What?
That's okay.
Just kick it to Devin Hester again. What could go wrong?
I'll take my Peyton ring. But let's turn to the Bears' schedule to see if they are going to be able to repeat as division champs. You are facing a first place schedule, so you do have to take on teams like the Eagles. You get to play the Patriots, so you could have played in the Super Bowl if you just beaten the Rams and then beaten the Seahawks. But after the Patriots, you then have to beat the team that won the Super Bowl in the Seahawks. You get the Buccaneers, then the Jags, the Bills. There's a couple games that are breathers, but similar to one of the previous schedules we were talking about, there's no like kind of stackable aspect to it, right? Like there's no teams that you're like, okay, we beat them the next week, we beat them the next week, we beat them, we've gotten 3 wins in a row, we can hang our hats on that if something happens as we get into a tougher matchup. It really is like punch for punch throughout a week by week basis how they like to try to navigate through this. And this is a year where obviously I would say that Ben Johnson would say this every year, but the fact that he's like, I want to try to break the 2013 Denver Bronco record of points, I'm like, this is a tough schedule to have to do that on, sir. Like maybe you're going to be throwing a lot, but like also you need to be running the ball. Like you got to try to win, not just try to break records. How do you feel about the Bears schedule for the 2026 season?
Yeah, it's a very tough schedule, kind of similar to the Packers, where it's just like I don't see where the streaks are going to come from, and they have like a really, really interesting stretch from Green Bay to Tampa Bay before the bye. Like I don't know how any of these teams are going to look, but man, that's a nasty little stretch right there. So for me, I look at it, it's like, man, this could be just how I felt about the Packers, 10-7, 10-7, 9-7-1 type of gimmick. Like I don't think they're going to repeat. Like once you see that Detroit schedule, you'll see why. But it's just like this one. I think once again, 9.5 wins. They're going to be either the second or third place team. Might be that Green Bay game on the Christmas Day might be like one of the most important games in Bears fans' histories because it might be a game that decides if you're going to be in the wild card, or it could be a division game if the Lions somehow, some way don't take advantage of the scheduling gods of what the schedule the gods have given them. So for me, I just look at this and I'm like, man, I just don't know where that winning stretch of games are going to be. Like maybe Saints through Miami, that's your 4-game win streak type of stretch. But
yeah, like this. And Alan, it's not that they made anybody mad. This is the virtue of winning the division and being a first place team like that. You have to play other first place teams. It's like I'm annoyed about I'm annoyed about the first 6 games that Denver has to face for that reason. And Denver was not just a division winner, but a number 1 seed. So like it's tough for a reason. This is how they try to create that parity. Wait, so you said what? How many wins were you saying?
Like over 9.5 for both Packers and Bears, and then like the Vikings, they probably have like at 7.5, 6.5 type of deal.
Let me pull it up because we looked at what's it called? We looked at Detroit, so we should look
and we looked at the Packers because they were 9.5.
Yeah. So let's look at the Vikings and the Bears. For the Vikings, the over under is 8.5 wins. And for the Bears, the over under is also 8.5 wins. They have 8.5 at negative 150, and they have 9.5 at plus 110.
Yeah, there's also the coach regression thing where it's like, Ben Johnson did good his first year, but then teams smarting up to what he does, and Caleb Williams, maybe he does like the Madden curse type of aspect to it too. That's still a thing people believe in. So yeah, I could see it. Like I don't think the Bears will be bad to watch. That's the thing. Like if they lose games, I think they're going to be competitive. It's just like,
yeah,
I just think it's a weird scene, like a really good offense, and then the defense is kind of like, oh, here's the defense and stuff. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Bears turn out. To be honest, it is very interesting.
Yeah, I will also say this. just in general, this is just not really anything specific about the team, but like New York is a fascinating city. It's my favorite city I've ever lived in. It's my favorite city ever. But like the Giants and the Jets, like there's so much to do in New York that I think it's a similar problem that LA has with like the Rams and the Chargers. It's like the amount of attention span that New Yorkers are going to have specifically for the Giants and Jets. There are those diehards that will go and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's something different. It is something different to live in a football town.
Yeah.
And Chicago is a football town. Like, yes, the Bulls are the Bulls. Yes, the Cubs are the Cubs. And sure, to a certain extent, the White Sox are the White Sox. But the Bears are the Bears. Like, it is fat. Like, I could, like, at any point in time, I can go to anybody's house and go to the garage and they're watching Bears football. Like, it's just, and to see, like, and the where I'm going with this is they cannot, these fans, because they've been starved for so long, if they do have that regression, you have to be like, this is the growing pains. This is the growing pains of bringing in a Ben Johnson and developing Caleb Williams. Like, you want to see people come out the gate firing, of course, but you want to also be able to look at Caleb and say, this is the progression from year 1 to year 2, year 2 to year 3. Now you're in year 3. You want to see that continued progression. And because you want this guy to be the franchise, you want him to be able to prove that he deserves the $65 million a year that he's going to want, or $70 million a year that he wants. And if you pay him, that you'll be able to build around him despite having so much money tied up in one player. So like there is that drive to obviously win the division. There is that drive to do well, but like doing well can look like different things. Success can appear in different forms. And so I'm hoping that, you know, just like for the sake of some of my friends and neighbors and whatnot, that the Bears have a successful season at the very least. And Alan's asking, Chase, do you think the Chargers made the right move to move to Los Angeles, or should they have just stayed in San Diego? That's an interesting question. I don't think I've ever asked you that.
They had no choice. They had to move because San Diego didn't want to build a new stadium for them.
That's right.
Yeah, this wasn't like the Spanoses wanted to stay in San Diego. Like people misunderstand the whole Chargers San Diego thing. Like Spanos, yes, he was like looking to get out because the reason he wanted to get out is because San Diego, because keep in mind, when the Chargers were thinking about moving, the Padres just got this huge new stadium. And at the time, I'm sorry, the Padres weren't like all that in San Diego. It was Chargers. The Chargers were San Diego's team. We were good around that time. Like I know, like we had some setbacks after the LT era and everything like that, and after Marty. But it was like, so the Spanoses were kind of upset that the city was paying for a new baseball stadium for the baseball team that really didn't do much at that time, or the Chargers. And so the thing was, there's a lot of Chargers fans like myself who loved going to San Diego to watch games, despite the long-ass drive it took. We enjoyed the time that we would go to San Diego, California, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. So, yeah, it's a pretty easy sell, too. Hey, you want to go to Chargers game this weekend? Let's go to San Diego for the weekend. Say less. Like, let's go enjoy San Diego for a weekend. Nice. We just come back on Monday. So the thing is with the Chargers, like they wanted to stay, but they didn't. And so like they were looking for places. San Antonio was a place they were looking to. Los Angeles was looking at. The Rams are an LA team. They started in Los Angeles. That
would have been fascinating if the Chargers had ended up in San Antonio.
Yeah, like there was places they were looking at and then they looked at LA because Spanos is cheap, and he was like, "Oh, logistics aren't that bad." And how much do you want to pay for rent? $1? Yeah, we there.
We could do.
Yeah, because Spanos is not one of the richest owners in the NFL. He doesn't have he doesn't have money to blow to do this kind of stuff. Like he can't build a new city. Because originally when the Chargers, they were going to kind of do like, hey, we're the LA Chargers, but we play like in like, so there's this place in off the 118 freeway and the 101 freeway. It's called the Valley. We call it the Valley just because it's like this like straight thing and stuff. Like if you type in the Valley, California, people will know what you're talking about. But the thing is about the Valley is they have like this really cool like shopping center and stuff. Like it's like you want to be in LA, but you don't want to do LA. You go to the Valley. So the thing about the Valley was they had the shopping center, and they had this whole area, and the Chargers were originally going to purchase that area, and that's where the Chargers arena was going to be. They were going to make a stadium in that area, and that stadium was going to be across the street from a mall and all this other stuff. And so they were going to do this, but then Spanos realized, oh, it costs way too much money, and they recently sold that to the Cronkies, and the Cronkies now made that to the Rams facility, where the Rams now do stuff and whatnot. So a lot of people don't realize Chargers were going to call it the South. Oh, dude, I would have been so happy, dude. John, if they were in the Valley instead of SoFi, that would have been so amazing. It's like a 20-minute drive for me to get to the Valley. Like, yeah, it's been so great, and especially like the way that place is set up. Man, they would have been doing some magic and stuff. And I always remember too, they had renders because they had renders of like the village that they were. So they call it. So it's the Topanga Mall, but they had renders of the village and the new football stadium, and they put football stadium ? Because they weren't sure if they're going to get it. And they show you the village and how the village leads to the football stadium and stuff. Because they literally had this other mall that they had, and it was going to be, they were going to tear that down, make it into a stadium, and it would have been plenty of parking. It's right by a freeway entrance, so, and all this other stuff, and it's right by a mall. So if you want to park at the mall, you can park at the mall instead, and then go to the game and stuff. So it was going to be good, but
by the way, speaking of which, if the Bears had ended up at that Arlington location, that would have been a 20-minute drive from where I live. Not that like I'm a Bears fan, but like I would have probably gone to more. I would probably go to games. Like at least like if especially if like it's just an interesting matchup, I'd be willing to go to the game. Like
I think people don't.
It's a one NFL game, and it was Bears Cardinals. So like I'm okay with going to a game even if it's not my team that's playing.
Yeah, like people don't realize how logistics really play a factor too. Like, oh, if you want to go to a football game, because you're already paying money for the tickets, but just parking and all the other crap that comes to going to an NFL game, it's like literally like, oh man, like I'm paying like I gotta put money aside for rent because I might be down this month with rent and shit. So that's why it's like important. Like when I tell people like logistics matter, and if the Chargers were so close by, oh man, I'd be going to more home games. It'd be so much more manageable if I like worked a shift, and I'll be like, yeah, I'll be in their stadium by halftime and stuff like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like one of those things. Like, so yeah, but yeah, no, like I'm fine with the Chargers being in LA and stuff. Like no one cares about us. We just kind of like just do our own thing. Like we're literally like the Clippers. Like no one cares what we do. Like we could literally sign like the biggest. If we traded for Myles Garrett, no one would give a fuck. Like I'm being dead serious. Everyone would be like the NFL fans would be like, "Oh, Chargers got Myles Garrett. That's amazing. Khalil Mack, Myles Garrett." No one would care. No one would be like, "Well, that makes them Super Bowl contenders." Rams get him. It's like, oh, Super Bowl. Like this is a Rams town, and I'm not afraid to admit it.
Speaking of which, the steam is building behind the Aaron Donald on retiring. Allegedly, it's just that he wants more money. Which I mean, pay him. Why wouldn't you? Like, figure out some way to pay this man.
Yeah, incentive that
contract did with Kawhi Leonard, but like figure out a way to pay this man.
Yeah, just incentive that contract up. Like, oh, get one tackle. Here's 100,000, Aaron. No, but like that's the thing too. Like when you were talking about football, like that's the one thing about California. We don't really have that kind of like, you know, like football love and stuff. Like basketball, like with the Lakers, like that's like the closest you'll get to like, oh yeah, that's like true love. And Dodgers with baseball, at least in LA. But like San Francisco is the one city where it's like, yeah, man, if you're a sports fan, it's like really cool because of the Giants and the Niners, especially when they're both good. San Fran fans show up. Like they're just really, really good, passionate fan base and stuff. But yeah, that's why I always say on my bucket list, I want to go to a game in Arrowhead before it's over before they move, because I respect Chiefs fans. Like I truly respect Chiefs fans. And anytime I've gone to Chargers Chiefs, always the nicest fans, like good football discussion and conversation. Like it's like a rivalry game, but it's just like you're not like fighting or mad at each other because of the score. You're just having a good football conversation. It's like a nice football talk. Like especially like a real Chiefs fan when you see them wearing like one of those old ass Priest Holmes jerseys, and you're like, oh, that's the guy I'm talking to. Like I see anyone like I know this sounds prejudiced, but if I see anyone with a Kelsey or Mahomes jersey, I don't talk to them because I'm like, yeah, you a bandwagoner, you weren't there and stuff. But then I see someone they wearing like an Eric Berry jersey and don't fit them, I'm like, yep, that's a real Chiefs fan. That's a guy I want to talk to because they're just good football. Like same with like Broncos fans, like with John and stuff too. Like it's just reasonable conversations about football, and it's like, oh, this is what I like talking about and stuff and whatnot. Like this is what I like reasonable football conversations and stuff. Like Raiders fans all know, like people, they're delusioned and stuff like that. Like they live in like an alternate universe. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like they think the moon is made out of cheese.
Speaking of which, Colleen and I were in the gym today, and there was a guy there who looked like he was like 6'5", 6'6". And I said, okay, look at that guy. And she goes, okay. And I'm like, because Colleen's obviously seen tall people or been around tall people, but like it doesn't always strike her. But now that she's learning about the NFL through me, I'm like, okay, so look at that guy. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, that's how tall Justin Herbert is.
Yeah.
And then she looks at him again, and she's like, so he really can see over his offensive line. That's what she says to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, he can. And so she's like, so she goes, didn't you tell me that Russell Wilson was like 5'10"? I'm like, he is. And she goes, how was he able to see over the offensive line?
Yeah.
And I'm like, now you're figuring out what the problem is.
It's a hard thing when you have like these short. That's why sometimes people don't like the short quarterbacks, because like when you have these 6'7", 6'8" massive people and you have to try to look over them, it's like, oh, how do you do it type of thing and stuff. But no, like I always tell people, it's just like when it comes to the NFL, it's one of those things where it's just like you don't realize how tall some of these athletes are or how short they are until you see them in person. It's like NBA is the worst of it all, because you'll call someone a midget and it's like, dude 6'2", and we're calling him a midget.
Right,
like what the fuck are we talking about?
There's 6'6", 6'7" guys.
Yeah,
he looks small. Yeah. But let's take a look over at Tankathon and see where Tankathon's expecting these teams to finish and who they would take in the 27 draft. So starting us off picking at number 14 is the Minnesota Vikings, taking KJ Bolden, safety from the University of Georgia. Then the Packers don't have their pick because they traded it to Dallas. So we'll see like how exactly that shakes out. So they may not be picking. But then we have picking at 20, the Chicago Bears. I really like this pick for them. If this does happen, I don't think it will, because running backs usually fall later. But Ahmad Hardy, running back Missouri, I think that solves a lot of their like long-term running back issues between Swift, Monangai, Roshan Johnson. And then at 26, we have the Detroit Lions taking Kelly Jones, cornerback, Mississippi State. I do want to add that in I was scrolling down because I was fascinated to see whether or not they would solve this. In the third round, they've got the Vikings taking Isaac Brown, running back, Louisville. And then they also have them with the third round pick that they got from the Eagles, taking Brendan Sorsby, quarterback, Texas Tech.
No. You're going to bet on himself in these games.
So
Brendan Sorsby probably betting on preseason football right now.
Yeah. Since I think we may not be doing another show this week, we gotta take a look at our schedules and see what we got. We do have a sort of soft opening for college football this weekend.
Yeah.
Out of the games that you know are happening, is there any of those that you're looking forward to seeing?
I know isn't UNC playing TCU?
Yeah, North Carolina versus TCU. That's the Dublin game.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be. Oh, dude, those are. I love the Dublin game. I think that's like the coolest new tradition that college football has brought, is this Dublin game, because we've seen some fun performances in that Dublin game and stuff.
Yeah.
But Yeah, that's where Haynes King kind of got his first shine was against Florida State. DJU was the quarterback and stuff. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Isn't that is that Thursday or tomorrow or?
No, it's Saturday. It's Saturday.
Oh, early ass Saturday. Yeah. That's probably the only game worth a darn. Every other game is kind of like isn't Hawaii playing like Stanford?
Yes. So it's San Jose State at
And
USC,
SC. Yeah, SC Space in San Jose
State,
State.
NC State at Virginia, Jacksonville State at North Dakota State.
You know
Sacramento State at Eastern Michigan.
that NC State Virginia game, it don't mean nothing that much, but a lot of people have been high on NC State this year for like a sleeper in the ACC.
Yeah.
And Virginia, a lot of people think they could do something in the ACC. I mean, because if you remember, like the ACC was run by like Duke, who had like a bad record and stuff. So the ACC is wide open. So it's like one of those wide open conferences and stuff. So yeah, honestly, if you're a college football fan or you just if you're just doing college football and stuff, I would say definitely check out UNC versus TCU. Not because Belichick is the coach, but TCU I think is one of those teams that could take a leap in the Big 12, a wide open Big 12. I would say. UNC also, it'll be interesting to see year two of Bill Belichick and stuff, like year two of Bill Belichick, to see like how he kind of changes his ways as a coach for the Carolina. But yeah, definitely go. But yeah, that being the Dublin game, that weird Dublin game too. Like I just want to know how they choose these teams and stuff.
Actually, I kind of want to. I'm interested in trying to look at that up too.
I will say though, TCU always has some very clean uniforms, especially at these neutral site games. I love TCU's color schemes. Like they just have like always some like weird, unique, clean uniforms. UNC, obviously, they're hooked up by Jordan, so they always have some cool uniforms too, like with the powder blues too. It's a great color combination, the powder blue and the purple, or maybe black and stuff. Most likely TCU will wear like a sharp purple or something and whatnot. But yeah, very good. But yeah, do not waste your time watching USC beat up on poor little San Jose State. USC, so like I think they play San Jose State, and they're just like fuck Northern California. We're just gonna beat up all these teams because they play San Jose State week 0, and I think they kick off with Fresno State week 1. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, man, you guys are beating up on the Mountain West and the new Pac-12. What are you doing, SC? Like this ain't gonna help you win the Big 10, baby. But yeah, no, like. Week 0 is always funny in college football because it's always like you want good games, you want something out of it, but it's just like, yeah, I don't know and stuff. But I always get excited and stuff for week 0. Week 0 is funny. Hawaii and Stanford actually could be a fun game because they actually played in the nail biter last year. That was where people discovered Micah Alejado, the quarterback for Hawaii. He came in and was like putting on this nice little virtuoso performance, and Hawaii is always a fun atmosphere. No, I think this game is at Stanford.
Yeah, it's at Stanford. Yeah,
I played. I went to a football game at Stanford. I told the story on the Spider-Man Far From Home
press
conference. Yeah, conference. Very nice stadium. It's just like for week 0, you want to see that Hawaii. You know what I'm saying? You want to see the Hawaii field, like so. Yeah, it should be a solid week of college football, but I'm going to tell people now, don't gamble on this shit. Like you not even TCU and UNC. Like it either goes two ways. It's a fun close game because they're in Dublin, or TCU's beating the brakes off UNC. So
we shall see.
But it should be good.
That's going to do it for us for this week. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. As always, there's only one region left for us to break down.
No, the best region.
There's a reason why we saved it for the last, obviously.
Both divisions. Jesus.
You got two the two AFC West guys on this podcast. But the NFC West is more than likely sending somebody to the Super Bowl.
One of these three. It's funny how both the NFC and AFC West, it's like the same. Like they parallel each other so same. They have a team that like could go to the Super Bowl and you would believe it. They have a team, if they can just get out of their own way and battle through injuries, can make it to the Super Bowl, win it. And then they have a team where it's like, hey, we know they're Super Bowl contenders. They can be Super Bowl contenders. Can they get out of their own way and win it? and then you just have two pieces of shit teams where like we don't know what to do with these guys. Like, what is Timmy doing with the blocks? Does he not know 1 and 2? 2 comes after 1. Why is he putting 5 there?
The other day when Ashton Genty got hurt, which I don't root against any injuries, and obviously he's on the Dynasty League, one of the leagues that you and I are in together. He's one of my top running backs.
Yeah.
Like when I saw that news, and I remember I sent it to you, I was like in my head, I was like, this is the most Raiders thing to happen. Of course, something terrible. And then I was like, oh, okay, Clint Kubiak's already working magic because it's just a sprained ankle. Like it could be a high ankle sprain. It looks like it's more of a low ankle sprain. But like, man,
on that, bro, Genty my friend told me. My friend was doing a fantasy draft, and he was picking like 10 in a 12-man league.
Yeah.
And literally, he said right before the draft started, this Genty news drops, and he's just like, oh shit, and stuff. So everyone's scrambling, right?
Sure.
And so Mike Washington, he gets taken in the 4th round. My friend on his back-to-back in the 5th round, he's just like, fuck it. What's the matter? I'll take Genty. And he takes Genty in the 5th round and stuff. And his running backs are pretty good too. He got he got Taylor and Chase Brown as his first 2 picks. Like somehow Jonathan Taylor fell to him at 10.
Yeah.
And then the start of the 2nd round, he got Chase Brown.
Not bad at all.
And then I think for his I know he got Ladd McConkey, but I don't know who his other wide receiver he got was. He has like a pretty good that's actually a really good wide receiver to be your main wide receiver. So
I'm picking 10th in the league that Neil runs, that Top Guy's in and Romeo was in. I think Romeo's no longer in it, but I know Chris still is. And we get to pick. So basically what he does is based off of the previous year's win-loss record, that is the order and of picking which draft spot you want. So by the time I was picking, I was like, there's not that many great spots left. I was like, I'm going to take 10. Right now, my plan is to go running back. And if I get some combination of like James Cook and Kenneth Walker or James Cook and Chase Brown, I'm going to be really, really happy. And then I'm hoping that in round 3 and 4, I can get Devonta Smith and Ladd McConkey.
So before we go, because this Sunday it's my big money league and it's a draft and stuff. I have the 4th pick, and I'm not really fond of this 4th pick and stuff. So my logic was, so every year I've been burned because I've done the 0 running back strat, and especially in this league, and I get burned because I don't have enough running backs to like help me win certain games.
Sure.
So I really wanted to do 2 RBs, 1 wide receiver round 3, or go grab one of the elite tight ends in round 3 and stuff, and then fill out my depth and whatnot. I'm just having trouble justifying picking a certain running backs at 4. So like my heart is saying take a chance on James Cook. This is going to be his year. But
when you say this is going to be his year, what do you mean?
I feel like they're going to really, really lean on James Cook this season. I think James Cook is going to.
I mean, they already have. That's
but I think it's going to be like James Cook gets close to 2K yards, gets like 18 rushing touchdowns.
Didn't he lead the league in rushing last year?
Yeah, he led the league in rushing at 1,600.
1,600, yeah.
Yeah. Like I think he's just going to be like he dominates.
When you say 2,000, you mean just rushing or all-purpose scrimmage?
No, just rushing. Yeah, like all-purpose. He adds that too. So part of me wants to take a gamble on James Cook, but then there's part of me that's like, do I go with Taylor or Saquon? Because like,
see, between the two. Okay, if you're like if the decision is James Cook or Saquon and Taylor, and you first are saying I'm not going to do Cook, so then the question is Taylor or Saquon. I would take Taylor.
Yeah, right.
Because I don't like it's too much of a question mark around the Philadelphia offense.
Yeah, like
with no just because and we talked about the the East, but let's go back to that conversation for a second. You no longer have AJ Brown. You have a brand new offensive coordinator, and the wide receiver that you got, Mekhi Lemon, does something that the quarterback doesn't like to do, which is throw in the middle. So what exactly this offense is if the argument is that the offense will now involve a lot of dump off passes or screen passes to Saquon Barkley, then cool. Saquon Barkley at 4, I could see it. But the problem there is we don't know. That's the thing. If it was a little bit more surety, I'd be willing to say, yeah, take Saquon at 104. But because there's that level of just we don't know what's going on with the Philly offense, I lean towards Jonathan Taylor because I'm like, DJ's looking fine in training camp.
Mm-hmm.
And this offense hummed when it was DJ was healthy and they had Taylor and Warren.
Yeah.
Now you remove if Pierce and Down, if Pierce isn't starting for the first couple of games and it's Downs potentially banged up as well, there's going to be a lot of there's going to be passes.
See, my biggest fear is I always will get the running back that I feel I like, and then they tear their ACL, and then I'm like, fuck, and then I'm just
in that case. Don't take anybody I'm interested in.
Yeah, no, and then I'm always big on the running backs have regressions and stuff. They always will have a step back and stuff. James Cook's the one guy where I'm like, I just feel so good about. But then I'm just like, oh, am I reaching? Because McCaffrey, I'm I don't know, Saquon. The only reason why I don't take Saquon because I always rely on him and stuff. The one year that did I tell you about? I told you about this league, right? The girls just want to have fun league. Yeah. Well, so I have this ex-girlfriend. She's a big football fan. They always have this one token guy in this league, and it's called the Girls Just Want to Have Fun League. And this is for the audience. They set the rules because us guys should know fantasy football. So first of all, they get to choose one the girl that you're playing every single week. They get to bench one of your players. You can't start them. If you start them, my ex, who's the commissioner, will literally make it where you scored negative points with that player or something like that. She finds a way to give you the loss and stuff. So you have to follow the rules that are set. You have to follow the rules that are set with it. So I followed all the rules. By the way, I won the league. Thank you. Yep. Got re-invited back because the girls liked playing with me because trading with these women is the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. I didn't tell you the story last year. So last year, I got Jamar Chase, right?
Yeah.
I wanted T. Higgins too. So I went to the girl who had T. Higgins. Hey, I want T. Higgins. I'm going to give you, I think I was going to give her DeAndre Swift, one other running back, and then Brock Bowers, because I knew Brock Bowers he wasn't doing well. And keep in mind, guys, I'm playing with a bunch of females. My team's pretty stacked because they just draft random they draft random people. If you saw sometimes who they draft, you're like, what the why? There's only 3 girls where I'm like, I fear them. My ex being one of them, and then 2 other girls. The other ones are they just want to have fun. They just want to play football, fantasy football. They want to know what the hype is. So I try to get T. Higgins from this girl, and I give her this offer. She goes, not good enough. I want Jamar Chase. And I was like, well, no. I said, you don't understand, Kelsey. The point is, I want Jamar Chase and T. Higgins because I have Joe Burrow as quarterback. And if you guys bench Jamar Chase, I'll have T. Higgins at least starting. And she goes, sounds like it just benefits you and not me. Okay, fine. Can't win with them. It's the hard. Oh, the funniest trade I ever got in that league. So the year that I won, I had Hurts and Saquon, right?
Mm-hmm.
The girl literally was going to offer me, and I did not accept the offer. Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then one other running back. I forgot who it was. I think I want to say it was James Conner or Jalen Hurts because Jalen Hurts is good looking. Literally, I see the trade, and I had to rub my eyes, and I was like, which league is this? And I said, girls just want to have fun. And I'm like, what? And on ESPN you can leave a note.
Yeah.
He wrote, "I want this handsome man." And I was like, "This is not." It's like,
you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do.
I declined the trade as a fair individual. And then I said, if you want to trade for Jalen Hurts, we can do quarterback for quarterback. And actually, to be honest, Hurts is one of the better fantasy quarterbacks. You have to give me 2 of your quarterbacks because you have 4 of them for whatever reason on your roster.
Mm-hmm.
I was being fair. She didn't like that. She wanted all her quarterbacks and Jalen Hurts. What are you going to do with 5 quarterbacks in fantasy? I don't know. That's the only problem about this league. They hoard quarterbacks like it's crazy. And it's like so fucking annoying. It's just like you can't get any of these quarterbacks. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I'm coming back for a 3rd year. I didn't win the championship last year. I made it to the semifinal. I made it to the semifinals. And when I make the playoffs, though, the benching rule doesn't happen. So they can't bench anyone when I make the playoffs and stuff. So like that's a good thing. They can't bench anyone in the playoffs. They let me cook and stuff.
Well, you're gonna have to let me know what happens with that league. I got a dynasty.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Oh, you know how they so this year so the year I got Saquon, they gave me the 5th pick, and I got Saquon with the 5th pick. That led to Saquon's close to 2,000-yard season, or he got 2,000 yards, didn't he?
He did, but he didn't break the single season record.
Yeah, that's what it was. They were like, oh, don't risk it for the single season record, but did get 2K. Yeah. So I had Saquon, didn't get to enjoy. Remember that Thursday night game where he went off? I just was looking at it on my phone, depressed. I always remember my manager's like, "Damn, Chase, you forgot to start Saquon." I'm like, "No, it's a stupid league I'm in." And he goes, "That sucks." And I'm like, "Yep, you're telling me, man." And I'm just seeing Saquon have 42 fantasy points just sitting on my fucking bench. I'm just like, this is great and stuff. But this year, they're punishing me. They said, because how I got Jamar Chase, since I won the league, when you win the league, you get the first pick. That's how they do it in this league.
Sure. So
even though I'm the guy I'm supposed to have the disadvantage, they gave me the first pick because I won the league. So fuck it. So that's how I got Jamar Chase. And now this year I have the 10th pick. So I'm like, which I'm fine with. Because I'm like, this is like the best pick to give me at this point in time. So I'm just gonna go. I can have my James Cook and Chase Brown combo that I really want. So. Yeah. John, you would be so frustrated seeing how many quarterbacks get taken in the first round. You're just like, why? Why are you taking these quarterbacks and stuff? It's like hilarious.
It's frustrating because like I do want I would also be happy with like James Cook, Amari, and Hampton.
Yeah.
But I'm really hoping to get Ladd McConkey. And so I'm like, I don't want 2 Chargers like that. I'd rather just have 1.
Yeah,
and the problem is, if you go running back, then the question is, who's going to be that wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2 on your team? I know that Ladd McConkey is going to be the number 1 target on that team.
Yeah, I think running back. I think wide receiver in round 3. Yeah. I've been seeing AJ Brown fall in round 3, bro. I think AJ Brown's such a move if you can get him in round 3.
I don't know. I'm slowly souring on AJ Brown to the Patriots.
Yeah, I think with round 3, wide receiver, too, Devontae Adams does fall in round 3 a lot.
Yeah, Taco I would be happy with Taco because I think so many of those defenses are going to be still trying to key on Puka Nacua, and then this guy's just like touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly. I think Devontae is a good move in round 3 too. Pickens, if you think that he's going to have the same year, like Pickens would be another one for round number 3. And stuff. I think there's like a lot of things that you could do at round 3 with wide receiver. I think the wide receivers, there's a lot of depth. My friends always joke with me in this one league. So you've seen the TV show Survivor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we do a Survivor league.
You were talking about,
I didn't get voted out. I had to hit an immunity idol. So they couldn't vote me out. They tried to. They thought they could vote me out, and then our Jeff Probst. So we have a Jeff Probst, but he doesn't play in the fantasy league. He's literally just our Jeff Probst. Like he literally, I think he stopped watching football. I don't know. I'm not friends with this guy. He goes, "All right, votes have been casted. Chase, Like, does anyone have a hidden mediato? And I got the hidden mediato because of I forgot who I found the hidden. I messaged you. I forgot who the player was, but I had him on my roster. So he was the hidden mediato. I play it, and my friends were pissed. They were so because they love because I've been voted out 2 times in this stupid ass league, and the reason being I got voted out the first time because I was dominant. Then they brought me back because they said, Chase, you're welcome back to the island. So I was like, all right, fine, like I'll play. And then I wasn't even winning, bro. But they still voted me out for whatever reason. I don't know what politics were being involved here, but they voted me out, which pissed me off. So then I said, I'm never coming back. And then they wrote me back in. And so I'm back in. I found a hidden mediato. And guess what? They brought me back last year and they tried to vote me out. And I'm like, the fuck is this? You guys are just trying to call me. Like, this is ridiculous. So, like I literally was pissed when we did our little Zoom call. We do this on Zoom too, which is hilarious. Like, I was just like a bunch of dudes on Zoom freaking doing the Survivor thing before the season and stuff. And then later on, like, they were like, all right, cast for votes. And then we ended up voting out this one guy. My ex that does the Girls Want to Have Fun League, she was in the Survivor League, and they kicked her. They voted her out the first time and stuff. And since we voted someone out, I asked her if she wanted to join back, and she goes, why? So I could just get voted out again? No thanks and stuff. And we always try to keep it where it's at least people we know or Survivor All-Stars and stuff like that. Like Like, I'm considered one of the greatest Survivor fantasy football players of all time and stuff. In that league, too, I had at one point the best standard ESPN fantasy team, like, in the top 10. Like, my team was in the top 10 of all ESPN. Dude, Manning as my quarterback, AP as RB1, MVP year, Jamal Charles, muscle hamster. Wide receiver, Demaryius Thomas.
Oh, listen, you don't have to talk to me about QB wide stacks. Okay?
And keep in mind, this was Peyton Manning, where Peyton Manning was second place for MVP to Adrian Peterson. So it wasn't like this wasn't the fall off of Peyton Manning. It was still Peyton goddamn Manning. And Adrian Peterson, guess what round I got him at? 4th round, because people were so afraid of this ACL injury.
That's so right. That was the year, yeah.
Yeah, he came back from the ACL and stuff. Doug Martin was my last fucking pick because I was just like, I like his name. I liked him at Boise State. I'm taking him. Muscle hamster came through. Who's my other wide receiver? I know I had Ted Ginn on that team. I had Ted Ginn. I had Julio. It was Julio who was my other wide receiver because I went double wide receiver to start because I went Julio in the first, DT in the second. I got Peyton in the third, and then I did Adrian Peterson. Jamal Charles, for whatever reason, was sitting there in the 5th, so I took Jamal Charles. And then I know my other pick, it was a Carolina wide receiver. Because Ted Ginn wasn't on Carolina at that time. He was in Miami still, I believe. No, it wasn't. Oh, wasn't Ted Ginn. It was Mike Wallace. I had Mike Wallace on my – yeah, Mike. I got them confused because they're both fast. So I had Mike Wallace.
Yeah.
I had Mike Wallace. Oh, tight ends. I had Julius Thomas.
Dude.
Yeah. I had Julius Thomas. And I had who was the one fool? He was just getting touchdowns. I forgot his name, bro. He was on the Browns. He was a random Browns tight end in that 2013 season.
Oh yeah, hold on, let me see if I know who you're talking about.
He came in and he did good stuff for me.
2013 Cleveland Browns. Where's the personnel? Come on.
It's either him or I had Owen Daniels. One of those two idiots.
Did Gary Barnage and Jordan Cameron.
I didn't have Barnage when he went off that one random year.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe it was Barnage. I can't remember. I just remember I had tight ends that were just scoring touchdowns and shit, and then all my other wide receivers were just kind of like like there, but I had Julio and DT because I picked them back to back and stuff. And then I was so shocked when Manning fell to me in the third round because like we have this one guy. No, we literally have this one guy who's like a Peyton Manning nut hugger, loves Manning, and for whatever reason, he just was like, "Y'all can have him," and we're like, "Okay." You're like, just Manning betrayed him or something. I don't know what happened. He just didn't want to pay Manning anymore, and I took him.
I would never not take Peyton Manning. I'm
God,
just like, if you and I were playing fantasy at the time and Peyton had still been in, every time I would just take him.
You know, it was funny too. That was the first year I had Peyton Manning as like a quarterback, and it was like, and then just having these running like my friends, they were just like Jesus Christ. And then that started my run where from like 2013 to 2018, I was just winning championships. I won 5 titles in a row.
I've had plenty of years in multiple leagues where I was just like, I'm taking Peyton
Manning. Yeah,
I'm just taking Peyton Manning.
Yeah, so I won 5 titles in a row, and then 2019 was the depressing. Was it 2019 where Derrick Henry was like going off, and then he got hurt like halfway through the season, and then or was that a different season?
I think that might have been that one.
Like Derrick Henry was off this like historic, like, oh, he's gonna break every fucking NFL record, and then he gets hurt midway through the season.
I think you're thinking 2021.
Okay, no, so I don't know what. Yes, because 2021 that was a different league where I was dominating with Derrick Henry, and then he got hurt. But I had Cooper Kupp, who did great. 2019. I slipped up. I forgot what happened, but I didn't make the playoffs. And I was scrambling to find a hidden immunity idol. And my biggest off had the hidden immunity idol. And he would not, and I begged him to give it to me, and he won it. And then I asked my alliance, would they keep me safe? This is the saddest moment ever. All my alliance members said, no, you keep fucking winning. We got to get you out of the league, Chase. And I said, what? Guys, they're like, the jury's go-, and we use the survivor terms. We go, the jury's just going to vote for you at the end and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to win the $1 million. And like, we'll use it. And so then later on, like, even the host, he was shocked because my alliance was strong. Because keep in mind, we had like we have like 12 teams in this shit. So it's like I had an 8-person alliance, and they didn't want to keep me safe. They said, nah, fuck you, Chase. Stabbed in the heart. And then they kicked me out. And then I didn't play with these assholes again until 2022. And then they kicked me out. And then they kicked me out in 2024, invited me back for the 2025 season, and then they tried to kick me out again. So these guys are just such assholes. Like, I don't know why I played in this league, but it's fun.
But Chase,
see, this is what John and I can do. We can just talk random football shit for hours.
We're gonna have to put a pin in it. But we will be back to discuss the 2 best divisions in the AFC and the NFC. NFC West and AFC West. Not 100% sure where we're going to bring that to you. But when we do, I'm sure we're going to have some more fantasy football conversations because you and I both will have been doing some drafts by then. I have a dynasty draft going to be this Saturday.
Yeah, so, I have 2. The girls just want to have fun league redraft. The survivor draft September fucking 5th. I do not understand why we're doing that.
I have some drafts on September 5th as well.
Yeah, I don't understand. It's like, guys, football's the next day. What are we fucking doing? And so, yeah, so we got that. And then I got my main big money league. And then, got to defend my championship in the main event Mafia League, defending reigning champion. Yep. And then hopefully in worldwide, I can redeem myself and I can do well in that league too.
You should be. I think you'll be pretty. Our division, because we're in the same division. That division is tough. Like it is the toughest division.
Yeah.
From day one, like even before you got there and Nick had the team, that was the toughest. It's the toughest division to win, and it's also the division that's produced the most champions out of the 4 years that we've had the league. There's been 1 from the Canadian division, 1 from the Mexican division, and 2 from ours, the American division. So yeah, it is a tough division to win. So we'll see how that one goes. And
yeah, that'll be fun. I can't wait. I'm so excited, John. We're so back.
Scott's showcases team is like he won the chip for a reason. Like he's gonna be the guy to beat. But that's gonna do it for us for this one. We want to thank you guys for tuning in as always. Like I said, we'll be back soon with AFC and NFC West, but this has been our preview of the AFC and NFC North. Chase, let the people know where they can find you.
You can follow me on X at ChaseOliver68.
And you guys can catch me here on the True Elite Sports and Entertainment channel pretty much always with Chase, and we're talking about something. We're whether it's True Offseason, we just finished the Pits. We just had the Pit finale stream. So there's a lot of fun things that we're doing. We have the Pit
Spider-Man rankings.
The Spider-Man rankings. We did all the live action ones.
We're going to review all the Wolverine movies.
Maybe we'll see.
All the Avengers. Guys, I don't know if you know this. I'm announcing it now. John and I, every Avengers movie up until Doomsday.
Oh God. We'll see.
All the TV shows. All the TV shows. You're getting it all here.
Get out of here! I'm not doing that shit.
We should at least review Infinity War and Endgame before.
Oh yeah, I think we probably will do that.
Yeah.
I have never watched any of She-Hulk or Secret Invasion, and I will not. So
yeah, I think you made a wise choice by doing that.
Well, as soon as I found out that they were gonna do, they were gonna have legal drama aspects, but they were not having any lawyers be part of the writing team or like consult or anything like that. I was just like, this is good. It's just going to annoy me watching it. I'm not gonna put myself through that.
Yeah,
so,
no. Yeah, you best decision.
But thank you guys for tuning in. As always, remember, take care of yourselves and each other. On behalf of Chase and myself, we will catch you guys later.